Some of the content of Patriots Unfiltered may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
The world's original podcast.
Welcome to Patriots Unfiltered.
Alex will not be here. She
has sent her picks.
Yeah, feeling a little under the weather today. She got something she thinks she picked up. Tell her not to touch dirty things.
Yeah. Absolutely.
The 1-6 Panthers are at the 4-3 Broncos. Where are they playing? At home. It's unbelievable.
Denver
It
by
really
9.5.
is. I mean, how the league has gotten away with this for 30 years is unbelievable.
You know what the worst thing is? It's Fred's favorite team, too, the Broncos.
Used to be.
Jeez. When we played in high school, we ran the play, and you ran the play. Jimmy Galante would come back and say, Paul, I was open. Like, I wouldn't have read the field and done that, only because I was so sick of listening to him bitch every play.
Do you think you could go into the wide receiver room and tell that story and get?
I think I could tell him to, shut the.
That's right. Get in there.
Get off your phones.
As Teddy Bruschi would say to Chad Ochocinco, get off your phone and get in your playbook.
Paul finishes his 5-minute, fire and brimstone speech, walks out, and they're like, who was that?
That's the guy that works on the website.
He does notes.
This is Patriots Unfiltered.
Presented by Toyota's official website for deals, buyatoyota.com.
All right, welcome to Patriots Unfiltered. It is Tuesday here at Gillette Stadium, and it's a victory Tuesday because the Patriots beat the Jets. It's always a good day when the Jets lose, and even better when you win, when you beat them. So, what?
I was doing the fist pump, but I wasn't on.
Oh.
Victory Tuesday.
Absolutely.
I just want to echo your sentiments from the postgame show and let you get a chance to reiterate
I'm
how proud.
I'm proud of the guys.
Yeah.
I'm proud of the bounce back. I'm proud of the fight.
The response.
Yeah, it wasn't perfect.
Proud of the room.
Yeah.
Fred had a lot of pride. Beaming with pride, one might say. Mike,
That's
am I
accurate.
taking
That's
that too far?
accurate.
Beaming with pride.
I feel like I was so off because I had computer issues, so I didn't enjoy the win at all.
He was
I got home I got home Sunday night and I had to rewatch it on TV, just the ending, not the whole game. Don't worry, Paul. Just the ending, and I was like, "This is great! What a nice win!" And all of a sudden, I had this where was this energy for the post-game show when I had to talk about it because I was so I can't publish my thing, and I had to get a late start.
You were frazzled.
And I was so frazzled.
You were rattled.
And I wasn't even
I have
really.
to be honest with you, I didn't sense that.
No,
I know that you had some computer
I saw
issues.
him upstairs.
Yeah.
I know he had computer issues. So he
didn't
told us
enjoy
that when he
it.
came down, but I thought you.
I know.
I thought you brought energy.
Well,
you
maybe
disputed Fred's pride.
It was
That
probably my
fight
anger.
that was worth the
had
price.
to jump in.
Right.
That was
it was my
price of
angry
admission.
energy from my computer energy. So I used it, but I hoping to have a little good feel to it.
good.
It's a good win.
Well, last
good.
week
was a good
Last
win.
week the theme was we're soft. This week we're hard.
That's right. All of us.
He actually said that.
What?
He said that on the post-game show.
Yeah, clipped.
And I almost lost the Diet Pepsi out of my nose.
Yeah. So good stuff. The only negative coming out of the game is Drake Maye and the concussion protocol.
Yeah.
We're all waiting to see what happens. The way Jerod talked about it, he saw him, at halftime or something, and Maye was trying to make the case to go back in. I know it has nothing to do. It's up to the doctors, but I'm hoping that, it was minor. He's going through the protocol, and he does get to play this week. But no one has any idea.
Yeah. How quick will we know? It was till tomorrow with practice.
If he's out there tomorrow,
I don't think you'll know until
It could
Saturday.
be pretty late.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Oh, you think you'll have to wait?
Yeah.
Tua didn't get announced until Saturday, and he was practicing all week.
So they see how it goes.
Right, because
You have
he could
steps.
he could have setbacks. Get out at practice and then have a setback. So
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and I would just sort of add, when Jerod said that he had talked to the trainer and quote unquote it didn't seem that bad, that was before he was declared that he had a concussion.
Yeah. Okay.
So I just don't want to raise any.
No, I don't want to get
expectations.
Yeah. I know. I'm just. I
don't know. I've seen plenty of examples where guys have gotten a concussion and played the next game, and I've seen plenty where they haven't.
Most of the time they don't.
correct.
I would say most of the time they don't. I would agree.
Statistically, it's very high actually that they don't.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So that would be discouraging. But otherwise, you picked up your second win. Drake Maye looked good while he was in there, especially his feet. And then, hey, Jacoby came in and did what he had to do. And probably, I heard one person describe that pass he made to Boutte at the end being the best pass he made in his career. Forget about in the game.
That was Mike Reese.
Mike Reese.
Not a, Johnny come lately. He's been around a little bit.
Yeah. He had one thing that he said that the Patriots haven't played in Tennessee since 2018.
In Tennessee?
Yeah.
In the regular season.
Yeah.
Oh, in the regular season.
We were there last year.
Yeah.
Right.
Preseason.
In 2019.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
We were just talking about it.
Yep. Yeah, in the regular season.
Sounds about right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. What else? What else in it?
The Jets in a tailspin. How about that?
Bill Belichick will tell you all about it.
I mean, that's perfect.
Prescient Paul Perillo calling that one.
Do I get anything for that?
Yeah. That was
when
pretty
you
good.
said no, he won't bring it up, I said, oh, no.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah. No, I immediately said.
And what is the one thing he said about the Patriots?
Good win.
By who? Great drive by who?
Jacoby.
Who drafted him?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I see.
And the rest was about now. In fairness to Bill here, I have been snarky with Bill, but this nationally, this game was about the Jets nationally.
Oh,
Yeah,
of
right.
course.
So I
course.
understand if Bill and the shows that he's on are going to focus more on the Jets, as Mike said, crash and burn.
Oh.
Because it's I'll give you your flowers.
Me.
Yeah, I'm going to give you your flowers. Exactly the way you said it in the summer is exactly what's happened in the first 8 weeks of the Jet season. Hasn't been about injuries, hasn't been about anything like that. Just hasn't worked.
No.
Just hasn't worked. And Evan said that it's not going to work.
They just cannot get out of it.
I can be.
That was maybe a little homerism.
I can be fair.
Thank you.
I don't know why. It's just not going to work.
No, but most people, in all seriousness, I'm joking with you because I do know that's why you said it. But most people that said the Jets thing, it's just not going to. It was like Rodgers will get hurt, they'll Jets it up.
Yeah.
Like
They have Jets it up in a different way.
And Rodgers is contributing to it. He's
huge.
Like, I think he's just being difficult to work with when it comes to the coaches, and it reflects in the game.
And he's
It's
not
just
playing
the
well.
three
Like,
timeouts
physically
in
not
the first
playing
quarter. That's all on Rodgers, I think. I really
agree.
do.
I agree. But
Yeah.
to your point about the response, I thought that's the key takeaway. Before we started, Fred looked at the three of us like, what are we going to do today? What's our theme today? I think the theme is they responded. I mean, it wasn't perfect.
No.
The whole definition of soft, according to both Belichick and Mayo, the whole run the ball, stop the run. You can make an argument they didn't do great at those things,
right.
but the mental toughness they showed, to me, was that was the response.
Yep.
Yeah, they kept fighting. I mean, like you said, they gave up plays here and there, but I think just I told Evan I only grinded the defensive tape. I didn't get to
There's
the
a big
offensive
shock.
tape.
This is my favorite part of the week.
No, but I came away more impressed. I came away more impressed with Keon White. Maybe I deserve Fred an apology because I think was it Fred or Matt that put Keon White?
I think Matt had him on
Matt
the
had
list,
him
and
on the
I
list,
did not
and,
say no. Like he
I
gets
didn't say
very
no either.
defensive.
I
Matt
know.
gets a little defensive with his list.
I got a Keon White blind spot, I think, because I mean, he certainly had some
I noticed
plays
him
where he
on
got
2
run over,
plays.
but he was disruptive, and he made some big plays in some key moments too. I just don't see
He
him
forced a
during the
fumble.
game.
That play I
Yeah.
did remember at the time.
But I thought he was good.
He was rough early.
Yeah.
Early on, he got
Edge just got pancaked that one.
by
Yeah.
Rutgers at tight end
Yeah.
for the Jets. Got pancaked and got lucky that Brees Hall tripped over their legs. Otherwise, it would have been an 80-yard house call. But then as the game wore on for Keon White, I thought the film got better and better, and he finished really strong.
Yeah, there's always a couple times against guards during a game where they just look overmatched against him, and it's not every down, but there's always a couple that you're like, they miss. I mean, I thought Jeremiah Farms was pretty good too.
Yeah, he set the tone early. Had a nice run stuff early on in the game.
Swam over Tyron Smith. Had some experience. I know he played against him in week 3 too. So no, I credit those guys. It's just I think those are one of the things where watching it, the live bullets flying, you're not always locked in on every single guy, and just at least defensively going back and looking at it, I felt like they really they competed. They competed, and even though there were some bad plays, they didn't get down in the dumps. They didn't seem to feel sorry for themselves. They were able to bounce back and make some plays when they had
there
to.
a couple bad plays, but when it comes to tackling, but I thought the tackling was much better than in the past few games.
And I'd say like Christian Ellis is fast, and that's not much to say about him, but he's fast and he gets in trouble. But I think he also has some good plays in coverage where he closes some gaps quickly. But, I think they got a better performance. Jelani Tavai.
Dietrich Wise showed up
Those
a couple
guys,
plays.
Their
everybody
interior
was
run defense was much better.
Yeah.
They didn't get pushed around like they did against the Jaguars.
Nope.
They still couldn't stop outside runs.
The edges were
Yeah.
a problem in the first half mostly, but I agree.
Yeah, some of those Godshaw said after the game, and I thought it was backed up, were like kind of game planned runs by the Jets to get the ball to the outside with Hall a couple of times, and they really gashed him on some of those outside tosses and things like that. But the interior run defense, Godshaw, Wise, Farms, even Eric Johnson had a few reps in there where he was okay. They did a much better job on the inside this week, and I thought Tavai was better. And Jennings is just good every week against the run.
Solid.
It's not happening on his side of the field. Like
Yeah.
that's for sure. So I thought they were better against the run, but the numbers suggest that they weren't great still.
Yeah.
No, they were definitely better, though.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, 113. I mean,
they were
I know
so bad the last 2
sometimes
weeks.
you can't just say, well, the numbers don't tell the whole story. I just, to go from 170 or so, 165 on average the last 5 weeks, down to 113, that's better. Now, it's
and
still.
it's not like they don't have good running backs.
Well, and he averaged
in the
5
Jets.
yards a carry, so
Efficiency-wise, it
I
was
gave
not
him a
bad.
half a point. You know what I mean? It's like if you wanted to say 1, 2, 3, those 3 things, I give him a half a check in stopping the run.
Right.
They couldn't run the ball and they couldn't cover kicks.
They improved.
They improved stopping the run. I would agree.
The other news, Uche getting traded to the Chiefs for 2026 6th-round pick.
Yeah.
What did you think about that?
Can I scratch an itch on this real quick with
Yeah,
Bill?
yeah.
Because usually I let the Bill bashing to Paul. I let him do that. But
By all means, go ahead.
But Bill goes on and he says, that's not much for a pretty good pass rusher.
Why do you think that is?
Okay, Bill.
Who drafted him?
At the trade deadline last year, when Uche was on an expiring contract and he was scratched from games last year at the trade deadline because he was in trade rumors, what was the offer?
Right.
And what were you doing?
Yeah.
Right.
Were you locked in? Were you trying to do what was best for the team? Or did you want to win as many games down the stretch? Like, what was it that you were doing at that point in time? Because if a actual draft pick was on the table for Joshua Uche that could have helped the Patriots rebuild this roster this offseason, you blew it.
Yeah.
And I just feel like you go on TV and you say, oh, he's a pretty good player. That's, why did you make that trade? Why didn't you trade him last year when his value was higher, Bill?
He is a pretty good player in a situational role.
Yeah.
I think he is a decent situational pass rusher, but that doesn't mean you don't trade him.
Right.
He's an expiring contract. You made that mistake, as Evan absolutely correctly points out, last year. Instead of chasing a record, you should have done what's best for the team and garnered a draft pick. The other part that Bill said, I don't know if you caught this, it's a 2026 6th-round pick. He goes, well, that's a
Basically,
waste.
they
They were
got
going to get
nothing.
that anyway.
Yeah.
In a comp pick.
No, you can't.
And you're not.
Yeah.
That's wrong. I think.
Yeah.
According to the way everybody, I trust Mike Reese implicitly with this stuff. And 1 year, $3 million guy, now he's already on his set. I don't think you're
It's
getting.
going to get offset by anyone. They're going to sign some guys, I would think,
Right.
that are
Right.
going to easily offset that contract.
It just rubs me the wrong way because I don't know for a fact that there were better offers last year for Uche, but I read back some of the reporting that was done from people last year, and it certainly sounded like there was a better offer than a 2026 6th-round pick or whatever it was that they got for him. So, this could have been done this time last year, and you might have actually had an asset, but I'm assuming that Bill didn't give a crap about the asset for this offseason.
Right.
So, they don't make the trade. And I just...
So that said, regardless of what Bill had to say, do you think they could have gotten more if they had held out maybe a couple more days or something like that
Oh, for this year?
for this year? No?
No. I don't.
Like,
maybe
maybe
you could.
2025.
Yeah, I was going to
6th-round
say
pick?
yes.
Right.
Maybe
5th or
someone would have
6th.
given you
Yeah.
one this year.
Yeah.
Maybe Kansas. I didn't look into it. Maybe Kansas City didn't have one.
Yeah.
Or maybe they didn't want Kansas City's this year, figuring they're 7-0. It's going to be. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's gonna be interesting to me to see how they use him and how productive he is with Spagnuolo. He's really respected, really good defensive coordinator. He knows what he's doing. He's got some great pieces around there. Complementary pieces. When Uche had his big year, I mean, Bill even pointed out he had Judon across from him when he had his big year.
Yeah.
Right.
So is he going to be that finisher that they need against some of these athletic quarterbacks? I think it's the same kind of philosophy of why the Patriots kind of originally took him, trying to deal with, I think we've seen it in spurts where he can run down some of those quarterbacks that are pretty mobile.
He's been okay, but
he's just always been what he was.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
what he was in college.
Never
He
played against the run. He
No.
can't.
But it's, I'm just probably not. I mean, he's probably going to do the same thing in Kansas City, but I am curious if Spagnuolo's got anything up his sleeve with him where it's, different system and
Sure.
different view on the
Yeah.
player.
But if you're a Chiefs fan, you're like, listen, they're
Sure.
our
No,
team's
take
doing
it.
whatever. They're not
yeah.
sitting. They're undefeated, but we're not sitting. Still, we're trying to make that run. So I'm
I'd be
happy
very
if I'm a Chiefs
surprised.
fan.
I'd be very surprised if he didn't contribute. I don't
Yeah.
think he's going to go in there and be
Oh.
like this whirlwind,
He'll have his
put you
couple
over
plays.
But
Sure.
that's a team that's going to play with the lead more often than not. Mike brought up you're thinking about the playoffs: Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, C.J. Stroud.
Yeah.
Mobile quarterbacks
Yeah.
that can make
He'll-
plays.
he'll have some plays.
He's an athlete that can run, with those guys.
Do you think anybody else might be unloaded before the deadline, which is Tuesday, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
tough. I mean, Jonathan Jones is banged up. I mean, I might throw him in the mix, but I think he's been hurt. I think he's hard to move right now.
I don't think that they want to move him either.
Yeah.
I think that he's a pretty important guy for what they're trying to do.
Locker room guy.
Yeah. Maybe KJ Osborne,
Yeah, I was gonna say one of the receivers.
one of the receivers, and Osborne to me would be at the top of the list.
Yeah.
Do you think you'd do a more impactful thing if the draft pick you're getting in return was big enough? Like, we mentioned Keion White. He's a guy that maybe a lot of teams say have a bright future, but maybe you're willing to give up a second-round pick for him.
I would do that in a blink, but I don't.
You
think
would?
I don't think
See, I
anyone's
would
doing it.
question. I don't know if I would.
I don't
want
think
to
anyone's
do that.
giving you a second-round pick for that.
Really?
Why?
Because he's got a big upside.
So then keep him.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think I would do it, but like, you
Yeah,
know,
I mean, I don't think they have any interest in trading Keion White. I
Yeah.
think he's a guy that they figure will be part of their
it.
future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, a second-round pick.
yeah,
I think too, you're just so desperate for talented players. You drafted one, you're developing him.
yeah.
Don't get rid of him now.
Yeah.
Keep drafting
Yeah.
and developing. Keep doing it.
Yeah.
I like the thought though, Freddie.
Yeah.
It's different.
No, I'm
Yeah.
just saying.
Yeah, it's different.
A surprise one.
I would say just if they're a surprise one, like maybe one of the guards. Like they have like 17 guards. They don't need them all. I don't know.
Seems like they have needed them all this year.
Yeah, but I don't know if they have any real value. But he's injured now, so it complicates things. But like a Cole Strange or a City So or like one of those players that, you have Onwenu, you have Jordan who's played pretty well for you. You have Layden Robinson, who's a recent draft pick. Like how many of these guards are really going to factor into their future plans on the offensive line? Like you really only need one backup, and you have 4 or 5 of them.
I like it though, Freddie. Outside the box.
Sure.
Yeah, I agree with the boys. I don't think that they would have any interest in trading a guy like Keion White, but it's easy to come up with veteran guy, expiring contract. We all know
Right.
all those names. You know,
Right.
that would
Right.
be one that would be certainly different.
Yep. Okay, so Jets win. I think it was a big win for the team. They're not going anywhere in terms of turning the record around or playoffs. Forget about that.
That
I just
was
think
the
in
day
terms,
they turned
in
the
terms
corner.
of just reestablishing the program
Yeah.
and getting a little bit of confidence back for Jerod Mayo and the players
little
in Jerod.
validation.
Yeah, validation. I
know?
think it was a big win, and you said before the show that was a big yard.
It was a big yard.
For Stevenson.
And I think that, it's funny because it's all perception, right? I think everything that we're talking about that we liked about the game in terms of their mental fortitude and, their response and handling sort of the noise of the week all happened over the first, 59 minutes and 40 seconds. If they didn't get the yard, and it was close. I mean, they looked
yeah.
at it, right?
Yeah.
But perception-wise, it would be so different if they did all of that and lost again. All the talk would be, can they get up off the mat?
Yeah.
And they poured a lot out. They emptied the bucket in that. Emotionally, the backup quarterback comes in and plays. I think by far the best game he's played this year.
Yeah.
Brissett. Can they rebound from that? It's just so much different
Are you
perception-wise.
Are you surprised at how the Jets attacked Brissett? Like they really didn't send the house, in blitz.
They didn't really blitz him until the last drive.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
last drive they came after him a little bit. I want to give AVP a little bit of flowers because, look, if we're gonna kill them when they're down, then when they have a good games, we should give them some praise. He's getting better at it. Like, you can tell in the games that he's getting better at calling the right calls at the right times and timing things up to the coverages and attacking tendencies and things of that nature. I thought that last couple of weeks, really, he deserves credit too for Drake. Like, Drake Maye has been ready to play 3 weeks in a row. They've had him ready to play. He knows what he's looking at. He knows what they're asking of him. He's making plays. He's head coach offense, and Drake May's development is his purview. Also, getting Jacoby, ready to be the backup is his purview too. So their rushing attack is still dreadful, frankly, but the passing game has gotten a lot better.
Doesn't it seem like so long ago that they were racking up like 170 yards on the ground?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like that was the first game.
They had
first couple.
Yeah.
They had minus 31 yards before contact in this game. Negative 31. That's hard to do. Like that is
answers your question as to why Stevenson turns his
Right.
back.
Yeah.
They're right on him.
I mean,
Yeah.
he's getting hit every time he gets the ball handed to him.
He had 7 forced missed tackles in this game and 24 yards after contact, above expectations. So, like, you're looking at Ramondre, just any of the running yards that they got were either Drake Maye or Ramondre just making
Dodging
something
people in
out
the
of
backfield.
nothing. Yeah, so they can't run block. That's a big concern. But their pass protection's been better, and their scheming, I think, in the
It's
passing
like my
game's been
golf
better.
game.
Yeah, right.
One day I can't drive and I can putt. The next day my short game stinks, but then I can drive.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden they can pass protect okay, and now they can't run block.
Yeah, because it's definitely been better in protection.
Yeah,
and that's why I put it on. It was one of the things I put on my good list for the week. I kind of blew it off a little bit in the Jacksonville game because I didn't really think it was that much better. It was just so much better than it had been.
Yeah.
But I think Jacksonville doesn't really get after the passer at all. I still thought the numbers were reasonably high. But this game, the Jets can get after the passer a little bit. They killed them with it in the first game.
Yep.
Now, I don't know how much of that is the Jets maybe outthought themselves a little bit and said, well, we sent all that pressure at them the first time. They're going to be more prepared for it. We're not going to do it this time. I don't know if they kind of, they know what we know, and maybe they outfoxed themselves.
Put thinking as part of the Jets.
But the pass protection was better. I mean, those guys did a better job. I thought one of the things that Bill pointed out that I think was valid was Hassan Reddick, doing the Chris Slade, chasing cars behind the quarterback.
Has Chicago been a new possible destination for Bill Belichick after that game?
I saw some rumblings about that, yeah.
Chicago
Every team
after the
has
Bears
said
game.
that.
I hadn't heard that.
Yeah.
Cornerback wouldn't have been taunting the fans if Bill was the coach.
Well, no, I'm just saying that
wouldn't have happened.
That's a
if
place where
was
you
here.
got the quarterback, you go in.
Isn't it funny, though,
That's a
how that
great-
works? Like, he hits that bomb, and that's what they're – and, like, we Patriots get in, like, just one play kind of – and it's, like, deflected to a guy in the back of the end zone. You know what I mean? Like, just changes everything.
But, even the way he created time.
Oh, yeah, no. Oh, I'm not trying to take credit away from him.
It's a great play by Daniels. I don't know if you guys watched any of that, like before, or just the highlight of the Hail Mary.
It was kind of a mud.
The fourth quarter was an incredible football.
Yeah,
it was really good. Like, Washington probably should have won the game by 3 touchdowns prior to that, because Chicago couldn't do anything offensively.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden they couldn't be like. Caleb Williams just caught fire in the fourth quarter. They had the long run at the end of the third quarter by Swift, and then they got all the way down there to take the lead twice, and.
Yep.
They tried to hand the ball off to a lineman who dropped it.
Yeah.
That was funny.
Wasn't a great handoff, in fairness to the lineman. I don't think Williams did a really good job of giving the ball, but they fumble inside the 2-yard line.
Yep.
And then you're like, oh, they had a chance to steal this game. Nope, they stopped them and went right back down the field, and Williams made some really, really good plays to do it. And I thought that was going to be like kind of a defining win for him. And then all of a sudden they came up a Hail Mary, which was amazing.
Yeah.
Can we normalize not backing off on Hail Marys? Like, I just the like 2-man, 3-man rushes that you see on Hail Marys.
The rush is so stupid.
It's ridiculous. Like you have the quarterback. I saw it on Sunday Night Football that Jaden Daniels had 12 seconds.
Almost 13. It was like 12.96
to run around
like
back there. Like, can you blitz him or something? Like you don't have to put everybody in the end zone.
So
two things.
The ineligible man downfield rule is still in effect on a Hail Mary, right?
Yeah.
So you don't have to, like you said, you don't have to do it that way.
The defense, it just.
Well, what does that have to do with ineligible men downfield?
Well, it's not like you can have guys down there able to catch the ball.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you're always talking.
There's only 5 eligible receivers.
Right.
So can we have 6 guys down there instead of everybody or 7?
Well, I'll tell you what I would do. I would either do what Evan's talking about, and I would. I don't know if you guys saw the week before. Probably you don't, because I'm the only one that cares about this crap. But Detroit and Minnesota had a similar situation the prior week. It's about midfield. Minnesota's got a Hail Mary. They went after him. Yeah. And they ended up sacking him. They sent more than they could block, and they got him.
Right.
And
I think their theory is,
at the very least, you're not going to have a good base in which to throw it 80 yards.
But the receivers also need the time to get down.
They need time to get down there. Dan Campbell said, I'm not giving them time to get down there. And I think Fred's point is really valid. Who can throw the ball with the guy hanging on him 65 yards like Jaden Daniels did?
Right.
He didn't have to throw it with the guy hanging on him because they only rushed 3. Now, here's what I really don't understand about that play. To me, either rush nobody and put all 11 guys in the end zone, or play it conventionally. What the Bears did is they rushed 3 guys with a spy. What is the spy doing?
Yeah.
Did you see that?
I didn't notice that.
They had
So in case he takes off, and then what?
Then he can't catch him.
Well, you got the Miami Miracle.
You might not be able
saw
to
it
catch
happen.
him.
No, but make them do it that way if they want. Don't
Right.
I just didn't really understand the idea of we're only going to rush 3 and we're going to keep a spy in case Daniels gets out of the pocket. Like he was, like Evan said, 13. It was almost 13 seconds he bought on that play.
Rush 5. 1-on-1 across the board.
I would just come after him.
Yeah.
I might even send an extra guy.
It depends on where you are on the field, because a couple years ago, it's probably a lot of years ago now, but Greg Williams famously sent the house in a similar situation, and they just had a one-on-one on the outside, and the guy threw a go ball for a game-winning touchdown, and it burned. He ran cover 0, and it burned him.
But was it a Hail Mary, or was it?
I can't remember exactly where they were on the field, right? Like, that's the difference. Like, if they're on the other side of the 50, even if it's just inside the 50, then most quarterbacks can make that throw. But once you start to get to a 60-plus yard bomb, that's when you send the house.
If it's a situation where you can just have him throw it up and he can catch it at the 30 and run the 30 yards, then you can't do it. But if the guy needs to get the ball to the end zone, and you do what Detroit did, I just don't see what Sam Darnold can possibly do. I don't know how he can get that pass off.
Speaking of the Lions, are they the best team in the NFL right now?
I think they're playing the best.
Yeah.
So I have a little observation. I'm curious what you guys think, all 3 of you. You've been watching some of the stuff that the Lions have been doing the last few weeks. It's got a little
trolling
2007 Bill Belichick vibe to it.
A bit we're
Dan Skipper.
Yeah, we're having too much fun.
Yeah. Montgomery threw a touchdown pass.
Montgomery threw a touchdown pass. They kicked a 51-yard field goal to make it 52-14.
Yeah.
Stuff like
Like
almost like Joe Gibbs is coaching the other team. We got some kind of 40-year-old axe to grind.
Yeah.
It just seems to me that Dan Campbell is out of poops to give, and he's looking to win these games as impressively.
I got it off the ineligible receiver thing that they did with Skipper last year. That was a whole thing. I get that's why they were initially kind of felt wronged by the league, but has there been something else that they feel like they're...
I don't know, but it started with the Dallas game.
But I've seen what you're talking about. That's why
they have a lot of trick plays in their bag, and they're not afraid to use them. They're very tricky like that.
Ben Johnson's just a douche.
Yeah.
But I wonder if I don't know this. I don't cover the Lions, but I just looking at it, I believe that they're trying to do these trick plays in an effort to run the score up.
Yeah, it's possible.
They ran a
the
touchdown
Montgomery
pass.
touchdown was definitely. I was like, okay, this is a little much, guys.
I mean, they had the touchdown pass back to Goff, I think, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Now and then you say that, and then at the same time, Jared Goff threw for 85 yards in that game.
That's what I was gonna say, Paul. It kind of feels like the Lions are an anti-Perillo team. They don't throw.
Well,
they
they
just run and they score 50 points.
Well, this game they just decided to let their punt returner do all the work.
right.
Yeah.
They had like
Holy Cross punt returner.
260 something yards of returns in this game.
They had 5 drives start inside the Tennessee 26-yard line.
Right.
4 turnovers
Oh
by
my
the
God.
Titans, 2 big returns. I obviously I'm writing my preview for the Titans.
I
if
think
you
there were
can't
3
tell,
big
so.
returns. They had you're not counting the touchdown.
The punt return and the kickoff return.
They had 2 punt returns of over 50 yards, I believe. They had 190 yards of punt returns
Yeah.
in this game.
I still think it's an anti-Perillo game, though. All special teams and ground
Oh,
game.
absolutely.
But even like when you
Absolutely,
look at the
Juice.
Titans defense or the Lions offense in that game, it like wasn't that bad for the Titans defense. They were just getting
We only gave up 20
They
yards.
literally get the ball at the 12-yard line. Like, what do you want the defense to do? It's like
force a field goal. But no, they are. I'm just kidding. They have.
they are 24th in
Make
red
a
zone
stop.
defense. So you could make
and
that
they are
case.
number 1 in defense. Period.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's deceiving, right?
Yeah.
Well, I assume, but like
They're 9th in DVOA, so they're
Because the other
okay
team
defense.
gets the ball on such short fields.
right,
but
yards wise.
But
yeah.
that doesn't explain it all. That explains the game Sunday.
Yeah.
Like they get 52 points. And yeah, I mean,
The
I'm just
weirdest
looking at it.
52 points.
It's 24 carries for 164 yards. Like that's good ground production. But it was 170-yard run, to go the whole DeMarcus Covington route. And Jared Goff is 12 for 15 for 85 yards. So, 3 touchdowns. Statistically, they're the number 1 ranked defense in football, yards-wise. And pass yards-wise, which to me is far more important. I just look at it and you better be ready to not, to try to take the ball away. Because I don't think you're going to mount a lot of, based on these stats.
Well, aren't they number 1 in,
They turn the ball over. They're
bad way
minus
of-
13.
Yeah,
Minus
they're the
13,
worst
right?
Yeah.
turnover ratio.
Yeah, I mean the advanced metrics really like their defense too. They're 9th in DVOA. They're top 12 in
11th, I think, in
EPA, right, as well. And like their defense is really exotic. Like it's hard to identify exactly what they're doing in the back end some of the time. And they have a good defense. They've been put in some really tough spots. They're not very good in the red zone. They're 24th in the red zone. So to Paul's point, they don't force a lot of field goals when they get the ball at the 20-yard line, but a lot of it is not on the defense, it seems
Okay.
like.
Don't get a lot of takeaways either.
All right, 855-PATS-500 is the TPX hotline. Podcast at patriots.com is the email address. Anything else before we open it up?
Let's open it up.
Good for Jacoby.
Yeah.
Yep, good for Jacoby. Yep.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Let's go to Mike in Vermont. What's up, Mike?
How are you guys doing today?
We're doing great.
My thing is, why didn't the refs call helmet to helmet on Maye?
I thought it was a good non-call, honestly. I thought Maye went into a slide late. I don't think there was any way that the defender could have held up. So I wasn't like, oh my God, they should.
It could have been a flag.
It could. I mean,
but I
sure,
kind of agree with you.
It was definitely helmet-to-helmet contact. There's no doubt.
No doubt.
But I don't know.
I had no problem with the non-flag for the reasons you're talking about. It probably was helmet to helmet.
Oh, it
but
was.
it wasn't a late hit on the quarterback.
Right.
No,
right?
and I would also say that I think it's pretty rare
Thanks,
to
Mike.
see helmet-to-helmet hits with established ball carriers. Like you see it on a defenseless receiver, and you certainly see it in the pocket with the quarterback. But when the quarterback runs, I mean, he had already run 17 yards for a touchdown. Now
runner.
he's in the midst of an 18-yard run.
Yeah.
You got to treat him like a runner. I think that's probably you mentioned this Sunday, Freddie. Maybe a little lesson.
Well,
for,
Yeah. my thing,
get what you can get and get down.
My thing on Patriots
was very late.
Unfiltered, my little thing that I do on that show,
yeah.
is talking about, I'm not saying get rid of the slide rule, but I think these teams need to start coaching their quarterbacks to be a little bit more aggressive and not rely on the slide rule to protect you.
And I think they
a good way
also,
to
and I
put
don't
it.
know how to, I don't know how, have no idea how this would be incorporated, but these quarterbacks are getting really good at it. That sort of, I'm going to go out of bounds, maybe,
Yeah.
like Mahomes did a couple of weeks
and then
ago.
you tip down the
and then you
sideline.
tip down the sideline.
You should get blasted.
But it's so hard because aren't you surprised that wasn't a penalty on Sunday?
Yeah.
When you saw that live, didn't you think, well,
The
here comes
helmet to helmet?
Yeah.
No, I wasn't.
I'm not asking you if you thought it should have.
No, I wasn't surprised.
I was really surprised.
Yeah.
And I'll bet you if, not to go all Patriots homer here. I bet you if it was Mahomes, it would have.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Josh Allen wouldn't have got that call.
No.
But Mahomes would have.
The whole slide itself is just so tough.
It's
as he
so late,
puts-
and I don't know
yeah.
how the defender is supposed to
Right.
determine as he's coming full blast.
And all of a sudden the
Right.
head is at that level.
He's going down.
Right.
Yeah.
and nothing
Especially
to brace
'cause he
The
himself.
only
just
thing
ran through
exposed
3
is
guys.
the head.
Yeah.
He literally just ran through 3 guys
Yeah.
to break a tackle to
Yeah.
get to that point.
Yeah.
The Drake May, and we were talking about it a little bit in the press box about getting used to a mobile quarterback.
Yeah.
And I have some tough times determining whether I like it or I don't. It's really like the 17-yard touchdown is
This
an
isn't
awesome
the day.
football
This
play.
isn't the day for it because it was a great win. I could have a 2-hour show about how much I liked the first quarter plus in his development, as
Really?
opposed to the previous 2 games.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I think everything they did offensively that was positive was him scrambling.
Yeah.
Right.
It just there's so
And it
much
would have been
of
that big throw to Boutte if he hadn't dropped it.
Or Thornton, yeah.
Thornton,
But
I'm
yeah.
sorry, right.
Even that was that was a great throw.
But that was,
schoolyard.
but
It's
no,
like
but
he
that
broke
was,
containment. He's running around.
Exactly.
Oh,
But
you
that
know?
was the kind of thing that we said, oh, he's going to be able to do that.
And I love it.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love the athleticism. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't say that as a negative.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of like more, the conventional stuff. I thought that the Jacksonville first quarter, like he can move. He moved around. He bought some time in it, but he also so I thought he was seeing it really well from the pocket. Maybe he did in this game too. I didn't love the first 3rd down throw.
Not everyone can be Vince Ferragamo.
I thought he saw it was sealing
That's a
the
great point.
I thought he saw the field pretty well, but like you don't want to be nitpicky when you're watching the film because there are times where you're like, well, if he'd stayed in the pocket, like he probably could have just made this throw instead of running. But then he runs for a 17-yard touchdown, and you're like,
I would
well, I
also
can't
say
really get mad at him.
Yeah,
Like,
and I totally agree with that. And getting back to the Belichick criticism of the Jets pass rush, I thought they gave him those lanes. I didn't think it
gotta
was.
take it.
He didn't have to be Houdini to get out of the pocket.
No.
I think the seas parted.
yeah,
And
that
he
was some
took
of the blitzing stuff we were talking about earlier. I think they came into this game from a game plan standpoint. You can't blitz him. Like it's much harder to blitz him than it is to blitz Jacoby.
Right.
So it might not have been in their game plan to blitz a lot. Because,
We talked about that.
because of
Make
May.
him pay.
Yeah.
Make him pay.
How much different was the game plan because of May as opposed to Brissett? Now, if I were the Jets, I would have heated him up and see if he could handle it first and then backed off.
Yeah.
But they chose to do it the other way.
Jacob in Illinois writes in, it continues to boggle my mind how winning a game can cause so much division in this league. The amount of comments I've seen on social media saying the season is lost and everyone needs to be fired into the sun because May got hurt is rage-inducing. Who said that?
I don't know.
Is this a straw man email?
Didn't hear. I got an AskPFW from one person who I'm not even sure he was entirely serious, but have not really heard that.
No.
This isn't a huge
Tone at all.
setback if Tua is any metric to measure by, and we should be rejoicing that we rained on the New Jersey Packers parade. Whether it's Brissett or May, wins are good, so let's be happy about them. Should be as hard as shopping at Bob's Discount Furniture. P.S. Any of you watch games and lament your picks and spread standings as they unfold?
Yes. Definitely this week. Definitely this week.
Gonna be honest, I kind of forget.
I was going to say, Paul
By
has CTE
Sunday.
and doesn't
I
really
don't
remember who he
remember who I
picks.
picked.
I write
Yeah.
it down
It's like, did
and
I
then I
pick that one?
consult it later in the night. To
Sometimes
see
I remember there's always a game or two that I pick differently than everybody else, and I remember that particular game. But in general terms, I don't remember who I pick. And I have noticed a lot, especially lately, I pick different on Thursday, and then sometimes if those games are in the 6-pack, like I picked the Eagles in the 6-pack.
Yeah.
And I picked the
I do
Bengals
the
on
same.
Thursday.
I've done the same with that.
Now, I didn't know that T. Higgins wasn't going to play, and that impacted my Sunday pick. But
I also just wonder, back to the emailer, sorry for a second, but
Fine.
football.
like what are they tanking for this year?
I don't
I
think
don't even
anybody
want the number one
I don't
pick.
think
Like,
anybody
who
thinks
are they tanking
Yeah,
for?
but
That's what
like
he's saying.
so
Yeah.
last year, if you embrace the tank for the quarterback, then I totally understand. But they picked the quarterback, and we all think that he looks pretty good,
Right.
and it's trending in the right direction.
That gives you freedom.
So they don't need another quarterback. So we're tanking for Travis Hunter.
I
for
really
a tackle.
haven't heard it,
Like,
and maybe I'm just not listening to the right people. I haven't heard people be upset with winning. I haven't heard people say lose as many games as you can.
on your show.
No.
For the draft pick.
That's Felger.
No, the callers.
but they're real. You're falling for it. You're falling for it. He's inventing it.
No,
they're not calling in saying that on any consistent basis. He picks the one guy that just did that, and he says that's consensus.
Okay, well, no,
There's
but I heard him
nobody really saying it.
I heard him. Oh, we should have lost, the draft pick.
Because he's the one, Fred. He's the one. Trust me.
That's my guy.
You don't want to be a 0-1 or 2-win team. Trust me on this.
Well, I agree with him.
No, you do?
Yeah.
Wow, that's really controversial take.
But I'm saying
you don't think it's a good thing to be 2-15.
But I'm saying that there were callers that disagreed with
I'll
him.
tell. Yeah, and I'm going to tell you, out of their percentage of callers, there's like 2.
Okay.
But he makes it out to be
All right.
the other
he
way.
He picks them.
Oh, not only he picks them,
Yeah.
he accentuates
No,
them.
that's good showmanship.
He creates that as consensus.
No, that's
Sounds
good.
like the Great Oz.
Because
Yeah.
I don't know about you, Mike, but I think it's really good if we only win 1 or 2 games. That means we're a really good team. That's what all the great teams do. Let's win 2 games. Trust me on this, Mike. You don't want to be there.
No, I don't.
You don't want to do that.
About 6 or 7.
They wanted to lose 16 games in a row. That's what that's what everybody
did it.
wanted.
Like Felger is the voice of reason. Like he's the one that had
No,
to teach us
he's just
how
setting it
it's
up
better
that
to
way.
go 15-2 than 2-15.
Because you people.
Because you people want to lose.
Spian Fresno writes in, subject line,
So
thank you,
frustrating.
Jacoby Brissett.
Oh, there we go.
There you go.
Fred, if we're supposed to issue Matt Patricia a big thank you, I'd say it's high time we did the same for Jacoby Brissett. Sure, Rodgers is post-menopausal, but Brissett manufactured a win that might destroy the entire Jets organization and did so despite having the lumbering gait of Tom Berenger at the end of Major League, the movie.
Yeah.
Broader point, though, the win should be credited more to what Brissett did on the field than to what Mayo previously said on the podium. I'm with Mike. Maybe the team isn't baby bottom soft, but they're still several Viagra short of rock hard. They didn't really stop the run.
What are we doing here?
Yeah, they really didn't stop the run. The Jets didn't run as much as they should have, so they ended up with less total rushing yards and high yards per carry.
I like how he put that. I mean, I wasn't trying to take anything away from the team's response and how they played. I just didn't connect it directly to. I think these comments got blown up outside, and everyone saw it as, well, they need to respond to this. I'm not sure that they ever really felt like. I listened to what Kayshon Boutte said. He wasn't going out there feeling like in his mind thinking about what Mayo had to say.
A couple of different team meetings about it,
That was about.
and they offered that to us. Like that was.
the team meetings though.
But was that
seemed-
about losing 6 in a row, or was that specifically?
I think it was
because Mayo
about circling
called
the
us
wagons.
soft?
I think it was the latter.
I think in some of it was about some of the rumors that were going on with the receiver room and like stuff like just
Yeah,
it was
I
more
agree.
it was more about like buttoning things down than I think it was directly about Jerod's comments.
I think it was all part of it. I totally agree with you with the receivers. I think they wanted to tighten things up a little bit, but the fact that they felt important enough to have a meeting, and I think Juwan Bentley addressed the team.
Jonathan Jones,
Jonathan Jones,
veteran guys.
Like that to me tells me it wasn't just the media. First of all, the media had nothing to do with it because
That-
Jerod said
well,
it, not the
listen,
media.
The wide receiver room was a mess, and it still might be, but it needed something, and right, they're still not playing well. Let's
They had
face it.
4 drops in this game and some
Yeah.
bad ones, like 2 on third down, and then obviously Tyquan's drop. And
So do you guys, Mike? I'm sorry.
No,
I know
he's
you
bringing up
only-
the drops,
You
and
only,
I
but
was
you
getting-
you only grinded the defense.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't.
So
So the offense. Yeah, go to Evan for that one.
Couple of crossers, Boutte and Bourne.
yep,
Business decisions.
I always hate going there, but
Because
alligator arms, like
Yeah.
like they're
that's
coming
what I'm
over
saying.
the
Like
middle
were
of the
they
field.
protecting themselves?
Yeah.
Because they were going
Yeah.
to get hit. Those are tough plays.
Should have been.
Oh, yeah.
Should have been
Yeah.
caught.
But it's easy for us
I
to say,
know.
just catch the ball. You're going to get hit anyway.
Yeah,
the Bourne one was terrifying.
the
that
other
one was like
Boutte-
scary.
That's why I'm
live.
asking. You
The
guys got a
Boutte
chance to
one,
watch it again.
yeah.
The second Boutte one from Brissett just was he didn't settle in the zone. Like that was more of like a route running issue than it was like there was a guy coming and he was going to take a hit. But the 2 in cuts that they threw to Boutte and Bourne, there was a guy flashing, and I do think that they might have sensed that. I hate the business decision label, but
you know what I mean.
yeah.
Aaron's in Connecticut on the TPX hotline. What's up, Aaron? Oh, Aaron is gone.
He'll call back, I'm
Then
sure.
let's go to Baltimore, where Rashad's on the line. What's up, Rashad?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey,
Hey, Rashad.
Well, I mean, first let me just say, like the Jets, they, I mean, it's like we always end a season, so I guess I should have known that we would somehow, some way win that game. But I'm calling because of the pretty much like the talent, but like the wide receivers. Like I feel like we about to go through what we went through like the last 4 years ago, where we going to have to try to believe in these wide receivers to develop, and I don't think none of them going to really develop to anything special. So it just sucks. It like I had high hopes for a lot of receivers, but I think at best it might be a 2 or 3, but no ones. The defense they try their best, but like. They just don't have the talent. Like they just don't have the talent, the speed. Like I don't know. I'm glad they won, but like I'm not in the boat of tanking. I don't want them to tank. Like I don't want to see them lose. Like I don't want to see them lose every game. Like I want to see them compete and win.
Of course. Yep.
Like I'm a realist and saying like they not good. Like they
Yeah.
Like I love Drake May. I definitely think he's the truth. He's the one. We might got us one, but like we got to surround him with talent. Like we got
a lot of work to do in the off season. Yep. Thanks for sure. I appreciate the call.
It's a lot to be excited about, though.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not the receivers are what they are for this season.
Right.
But if you have the quarterback, they'll figure out the rest of it.
If right now you had to make a decision, these are the guys we're going to keep from the receiver room, who would it be?
Pop Douglas.
I would put him on my list.
End of list. Like, did I absolutely need to keep?
Yeah. But if you read, like, the X this week, like, Boutte is now, he's earned what a lot more reps. And
he has one.
He's on the up. He's on the rise.
He has one really good vertical route a game. There's the deep ball in Jacksonville, the deep ball in Houston, the deep ball this week. He has one really good route a game. That doesn't make him... starting receivers on other teams have 6 or 7 of those routes a game, not just one.
Yeah.
So like he's been fine. Like, I'm not trying to rag on the guy, but I think Douglas is the only guy that consistently separates every week.
That was a question I got in the mailbag.
Anyone holding out hope for Pope that he can turn it around?
Yeah, I think so.
Sure. Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah,
No,
I don't love the question just because
8 games old.
All these guys are going to be back next year, and they're going to get a chance to compete. It doesn't mean that they have to be the starters. They can get bumped down, but is anybody realistically saying we're going to cut Kendrick Bourne, we're going to cut Kayshon Boutte? Well,
I think once camp comes around, and if you do bring in other people, it'll be a numbers game.
Let me know what happens in the offseason.
Right.
But not before that.
Right.
No,
you're not going to just cut
before
people.
now. Yeah. Before those are the guys you have now.
Yeah.
Like, but
if
you draft, let's say you drafted. I mean, I know that people don't want to hear this, and I probably don't want to hear it either. But let's say you draft someone in the top 5. Say you draft Travis Hunter, and then maybe you sign a big time free agent, T. Higgins or someone else. Those 4 or 5 guys that you're talking about aren't all going to be here.
Right.
Douglas and Polk. I'd keep them. I'd put Polk in that mix too. I still have hope for him.
What about Baker?
I don't have any hope for him.
No?
Wow.
Really?
No hope?
I
heard that he's turned things around. That
there's no
really
hope with dope.
Not no hope. It's dwindling. It's dwindling.
Okay.
I worry about some of the things that caused him to drop to the 4th round. Let's just put it that way.
Error repeater, and those things have kind of carried over into the season. And
I would say also, going back to the game, I think Hunter Henry's maybe having the best season he's had since he was a Patriot.
He was outstanding in this game.
Yeah.
I thought he was really good Sunday, but it's hard to top what he did
the numbers weren't
year.
huge, but every catch was clutch.
I thought he was
offensive MVP.
Really good. I mean, just drive starter on the game-winning drive.
Which was an unbelievably tough catch.
Yeah. He blocked well. I mean, the goal line play at the end of the game, he saves the game.
Yeah.
The right side of the line, they both lose their blocks. The $19 million guard, again, loses the block. And Michael Jordan and Hunter Henry.
They whiffed.
The practice squad.
Jacobson, when you whiffed.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I kind of wanted to bring it up earlier, but we were in a positive phase of
Save
if they had
the day.
lost the game, it would have been like how offensive
it-
line, the one piece.
Like,
that
I
you
know
thought
people
you could
don't want to
trust
hear
on.
it. It's rare that they go. Every scoring play is subject to review. It's rare that they actually go to replay to review it. So it was close enough that the guys upstairs said, you guys might want to take a look at this. And the reason it was close is what Evan said. The two guys whiffed.
Yeah.
They both ended up sort of on their stomachs
Yeah.
and didn't hit anybody.
Yeah.
Point of attack.
All right. Time to take a break. When we come back, more
nice.
calls and emails here on Patriots Unfiltered.
Whether you're in the game or betting on the game, you'll need a game plan. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the New England Patriots, provides you with everything you need to build your personal betting game plan so you can get in on all the action while practicing safe bets. Visit DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming to learn more about all the safe betting tools DraftKings has to offer. Hope is here, 800-327-5050 or gamblinghelplinema.org. Must be 21 plus. Play it smart from the start. GameSenseMA.com. Physically present in Massachusetts. See DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources.
Isn't it time to get exactly what you want? Welcome to Red Hot Deal Days from Verizon, where you get your pick of our best deals. Like My Plan, where you can pick the perks you want and save on every one. For limited time, bring your own phones to a Verizon store and you can get My Plan for our best price ever. Get exactly what you want in your phone plan and only pay for what you need. Bring your phones to your Verizon store today and get My Plan. These deals won't last. It's your Verizon.
When someone accidentally threw away the school play costumes,
Oh no.
replacements were shipped with FedEx. And with picture proof of delivery, everyone could focus on the perfect opening night. FedEx, where now meets next. For residential delivery only.
Look, excited to get back in the win column, excited to get a win here at home. You know, it was a good football team we played against yesterday and presented a bunch of problems, as I said on Friday. You know, anytime you see Aaron Rodgers on the other side of the ball, it's you got to put 4 quarters and more if need be. Very proud of just the way the guys responded. And saying that, you know, you watch the film and there were definitely still plays that we left out there. At this time, look, Drake is in the NFL concussion protocol, so I'm not going to get too much into that as far as Drake questions. What I told the guys in the locker room last night was, you know, that next man up mentality, it doesn't matter what position you play. You could be a defensive lineman, offensive lineman, whatever, or a quarterback, which we saw yesterday. And kudos to Jacoby for being ready to go when we needed him. I would say there was, you know, a couple of examples as far as complimentary football. You know, we had a 3 and out, then a good punt return that led to a touchdown. That's the complimentary football we need to play if we want to be successful going forward. And that's my message to the team.
And for questions, we'll start with Doug Kyde, followed by Mark Daniels.
Good morning, Jerod.
Good morning, Doug.
We saw Joshua Uche was inactive in yesterday's game, despite not being on the injury report. Was that related to the NFL trade deadline, related to something else? What led to that decision?
It was just a healthy scratch, and we also to put, you know, the best team out there that we think gives us the best chance to win.
Thank you.
Next question, Mark Daniels, followed by Chris Ryan.
Hey, Jerod. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yesterday, it seemed like there were more drops than usual from the receiver group, and a lot of the players admitted that after the game. Just was that a focus thing? You know, what did you see from that group, and what do they need to do here to respond and sort of get over that?
They need to get better. I mean, those guys went out there and they were open at times. And you know, when you know the job of a receiver is to get open and catch the ball, and if you're really good, run with it afterwards. So they definitely have to get better, and they understand that.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Chris Ryan, followed by Dakota Randall.
Morning, Jerod. How are you?
Good morning, Chris.
I want to ask you about the touchdown drive and, you know, the execution that you saw on that. Obviously, you know, 12 plays, 70 yards, brings it down to 22 seconds left. Overall on the drive, what stood out to you in watching the film?
Just the overall operation. You know, I joked about, you know, on that drive before that drive started, usually I don't give AVP any timeouts or anything like that going into a game-winning drive, and I thought those guys went out there and executed well.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Dakota Randall, followed by Mike Reese.
Jerod, it looked like Drake, he might have been slow to get up after the hit and was moving slowly between plays. Just wondering, did you see any warning signs from him after the hit? And, what was the conversation like with him before he went into the medical tent?
I did not. I was surprised when Waylon told me he had to go to the medical tent because he threw a couple of good balls afterwards, and I thought he was still pretty sharp in those regards. But obviously it's above my pay grade as far as like pulling him out of the game and putting him in the protocol.
Next question, Mike Reese, followed by Taylor Kyles.
Morning, Jerod. Can you just repeat what you mentioned about before the final drive with AVP, that you usually don't give them timeouts, or I didn't quite follow you there. What did you mean?
I was saying in practice. Sorry, in practice we go through that situation, multiple times a week, and usually I say, all right, it's a minute with no timeouts, and we operate that way. So when you do get timeouts, it's a bonus for them.
Gotcha. Thanks for clarifying that. And the touchdown run to win the game, when you went back to watch it, I'm curious what you saw.
Yeah, it's the same thing I said last night where, there comes a point in time where everyone knows you're going to run the ball and you got to beat the man across from you. And I've never wavered in saying that Ramondre is one of the best backs in the league, and why not give it to him? We should give it to him in that situation, and the offense capitalized.
And then one quick follow-up, just theme-wise on the same topic. You had 7 offensive linemen on the field on that play with Thomas and City as the fullback, right? Yeah. We also saw Lascidas actually on the first play of the game, but he come in and almost like offset there in the backfield. What was the thought process? Obviously, in the last play, you're just power, right? But what was the thought process on using some of the offensive linemen like that?
No, I think you bring up a great point. What was perceived, I would say, earlier on as a weakness on this team has now become a strength, and that has been through, Elliott and his team and the acquisition of guys like Lascidas. And look, Lascidas is one of those guys that practices hard. He's a great professional off the field as well, and we felt good putting those guys in to move the defensive lineman, and they did that.
Taylor Kyles, followed by Sophie Waller.
Coach, thank you for your time. With Marcus Jones, it seemed like he played outside more than we've seen in a while, matching up with Garrett Wilson. I was wondering, what was the thought process about that matchup? And also, how did you feel that went? Because obviously he gave up some catches, but also made some plays in the matchup as well.
I think that's a great question, Taylor. I would say there's no secret. They like that matchup against 25, and they went after him quite a bit. And just like you said, he made some plays and gave up some plays. But at the same time, I would say just that dog mentality of being able to get up and go again the next rep. I thought Marcus definitely displayed that yesterday.
Thank you.
So 2 final questions, Sophie Waller and Chris Ryan.
Hi, Jerod. Congrats on the win.
Thanks, Sophie.
I was curious. We kind of saw Javon Baker back returning, kick returns, which was kind of a new role for him. What did you see from him there? And how do you feel he's progressing to maybe get some opportunities as well with that wide receiver group in the game?
Yeah, he had one opportunity to run back a kick. Obviously, it was disappointing, but it wasn't just him. It was also just the blocking up front. Look, this guy is very explosive with the ball in his hands, and we have to, as coaches, we're in a solution-based business, find ways to get him the ball.
And last question, Chris Ryan.
Hey, Jerod, I want to ask you about a couple guys and how they've responded to adversity this year. And Ramondre, obviously, with the game-winning run, and also Jacoby Brissett and how he's handled things. What have you seen from both of those individuals behind the scenes, and how do they kind of set the tone when it comes to what type of sacrifices need to be made?
Yeah, I'll start with Ramondre. Look, obviously, early in the season, he had a hard time keeping the ball, right? So as far as fumbles and things like that are concerned, and he had been going through some things, also off the field, and I tip my hat to a guy like that who's able to, once he crosses the white line, nothing else really matters, and so proud of him and what he's been able to do. And Jacoby is just, we said this, the ultimate professional, also a tough guy that is able to go out there and operate the offense, and we're blessed to have him.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks, everyone.
And now, great moments in history.
Sometimes, like, that was a regular argument.
Yeah.
That was fine.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there are times that we get, like, sort of upset. We start yelling.
Well, it's crazy.
And it's not really, I don't think it's the best moments of the show.
No, if you're yelling over each other, as a listener, you literally can't hear what people are saying.
I mean, there are times, I know this is going to surprise some people, but when I have an argument with you, that I'm embarrassed about it afterwards.
Well, you should
And
be.
I don't necessarily...
Some of your stances.
I don't necessarily... Actually, I'm surprised. I can't believe I'm losing to this guy.
That's another great moment from
All right, back here on Patriots Unfiltered, 855-PATS-500 is the TPX hotline. Podcasts at patriots.com is the email address. I got a new laptop. IT every 10 years tells you have to upgrade your laptop. So I did that, and I had to rebuild like every password that I have, and like everything.
super annoying.
Everything
So
had
you're
to,
telling me I'm going to wait for them to come
my
to
life
me.
is on that
Yeah.
laptop, and every password to every site that runs my life I had to put in. So where did I put that password? So yeah.
So you know what the best thing to do is you get a like a packet of like Post-it notes.
Yeah.
Write them all on sticky notes.
Oh, is that how you do it?
And then just put them up all over your work area.
Yeah, I hope IT's
There you
not
go.
listening
That's
right
the
now.
That's the safest way to go about
Was that,
it. You'll never forget them.
You do an online seminar for that? Part of,
I have them in my notes app on my phone.
I have some like
that's
that.
password protected.
I like when I get attachments from people I don't know. I like to see what they are.
I generally try to open them up.
Like, what is it?
You're
I'm
not supposed
curious.
to
I'm just
open those
curious.
attachments.
How do you
Yeah.
remember the password to your passwords?
Yeah.
It's only one.
What's another word
Smart.
for thesaurus?
Facial recognition.
Wicked smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, the facial rec is that's a good advancement.
Yeah.
Nice tech.
Yep. Norman writes in.
Norman.
He says, I was disappointed when Bill was relieved of his duties with the Patriots. But the more I hear him on all the shows that he appears on, the more respect I lose. I know everyone has their own opinion, but to go on what seems like a bash the people have wronged me tour, I think it's kind of hypocritical for a guy that despised the media as much as he did to go around praising only people he likes. My opinion, he's losing credibility. There you go.
I don't know. I don't feel like I've watched enough of it to really say that. I mean, I've seen the highlights, but the highlights that are always put in my face are what he says about the Patriots. And,
Yeah, I admit that
you know.
that's part of it, is that what's going to get picked up is the negative stuff or the stuff where Patriots related or whatever.
I don't really care. I think we're all a little
I'm
butthurt.
smack dab in the middle, 50% on that email. Like I think he's right. I think he's hypocritical. He is.
Oh yeah.
As anti-media as he was throughout his coaching career, for him to have so many media jobs now, at the same time, like the whole on this crusade against people that wronged him. I mean, I can understand how he feels.
Yeah.
And he wasn't wronged because he was let go. It's kind of what's happened since. And, I can understand how he feels. Now, I think he's always been hypocritical in terms of, it's okay for him to say and do things or change his agenda as he goes. But, the media was always getting called out for that, Right. So I'm kind of half and half on it. I see the stuff that I've been very critical of some of the stuff that Bill has said, didn't have anything good to say about how buttoned down the Patriots looked in week 1. And they avoided penalties, they avoided turnovers. They won the game exactly the way Bill Belichick always wanted to win games.
Right.
And he didn't say word one about it. And then all of a sudden they start doing a couple of things strategically that, drew second guesses, and he was right there to pile on. So I get
Listen,
some
I
of that
think
stuff.
both sides are a little butthurt. They're very oversensitive.
Yep.
But Patriots fans, he's not coming back. He's not coming back. So
It's not your fault.
Get over it.
I just wonder, Paul,
It's
we
not
do
your fault,
we
son.
do our shows. We have the Patriots Unfiltered on TV, which I hope everyone watches. But then we do these shows, and we do the pregame and the postgame show. And sometimes you said earlier you make different picks when we do picks, and I do the same. But it must be hard for Bill to keep track of everything he says and what, and keep track of all the people that he maybe wants to highlight or people that he doesn't want to highlight.
All the axes to grind?
Right. Well, he's got like 6 different shows. Like, how do you
6
remember,
different axes.
like, well, I can't go too hard on the Patriots here because I killed him in this show, or,
Because I'm
like,
going to do it there.
Like, does he even think about it that way? Or, like, I can't imagine having to juggle all those shows.
I think he's
good
aware
question.
of everything.
And especially being on with, favorable people, Matty P and
the
Lombardi
thing too, like,
are just
and
kind
I
Lombardi's
I tease Mike Lombardi a lot too, but
As
I
you
think
should.
he comes in like reeking of kerosene. He wants to wants to light the fire. He knows where they want to go, and I think it's not good for him.
And they've had I'm sure Lombardi talks to Bill and it's like, you can't believe what they said about you. I'm gonna straighten that out.
Yeah.
The stuff that, like, that type of stuff I try not to let bother me, but the Uche thing bothered me because it was like, you literally had the opportunity to trade this player last year and you didn't take the opportunity, and now you're killing them because his value is been hurt, and so now they got less of a return.
But I would also say too, like, to your point, Ev, these trade deadline deals almost never end up going down for what people think they're going to go down for, except for him.
Yeah.
Who gave up a 2nd-round pick for Mohamed Sanu.
Right.
Like DeAndre Hopkins got a 5th.
Right.
Like, you're telling me DeAndre Hopkins even now wasn't more valuable than Mohamed Sanu was when they acquired him?
Right.
So just because you don't read the market properly doesn't mean that that was a terrible trade for a 6th-round pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, Uche's value was at its highest this point last year. He's coming off the 2022 season, and he had some value at that point. And if you wanted to sell high on the asset, it was to trade him at the deadline last year, or even before the season last year, if you knew you weren't going to re-sign him. And instead, I don't know where his head was at on that one. He can answer that.
But like you said, it could have been, I want to win as many games as possible.
Yeah, or he
maybe
might have given up already. Like,
I don't want to hurt the defense.
Yeah, right.
Because it sounded like you couldn't have cared less about the offense.
Yeah.
The way last year.
Looked like it too.
Johnny in Madtown writes in at podcast@patriots.com. Halloween yay or nay game. You ready?
Okay.
Real simple. Do you like it or not? 1, the original movie from 1978, Halloween.
Yay.
I don't like scary movies.
You don't like?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
Kind of like Evan. I don't like
candy
a lot of those.
corn.
No.
Nay.
Nay.
Absolutely. Haunted houses, corn mazes.
Nope.
Nay. I like corn mazes.
Haunted houses, yay.
No,
Corn
they creep me
mazes,
out,
no.
man. Those haunted houses. Don't get in my space. I don't like.
I'm nay.
Yeah. Decorate your house.
Yay.
Yay.
Yeah.
Sure.
You decorate your house for Halloween?
Do you think I do it?
Yeah.
No. But I like the fact that it's done.
Okay. You like it.
I have people.
You
No,
like-
Beth does it every
You
year.
like
yeah.
having your house
I do.
decorated.
I do.
Okay.
Clark
Christmas
Griswold
too?
over
Oh,
there.
absolutely.
Okay.
Clark Griswold.
I'm a
over
little
there.
bit more involved with the Christmas setup, but
In terms
Did you do
of
the drum roll?
in terms of what you like better, Christmas or Halloween?
Christmas.
Yeah, Christmas.
Love Christmas.
That doesn't apply to me.
Right. Hope Mayo's okay. As long as there's no risk of long-term issues, this is likely just a mild bump in the road in a season that's only about development anyway. Misses this week and hopefully back for the next game. Patriots win again this Sunday, 21-17 with a pick six mixed in.
That'd be nice. Haven't had one of those.
My lovely wife dropped her iPhone in a corn maze once, and it was just ridiculous trying to find it. Like, because we didn't have before track my iPhone, so it's like walking through a corn maze, calling the phone, like trying to listen. You can't even find your way out of the thing, much less find a phone. We never did find the phone, but
Speaking of Belichick, corn mazes.
Oh yeah, doing the rounds.
Yeah,
he's got a hoodie on.
Let's see. More emails. Jack writes in about the Tigers that the Lions that we mentioned earlier. Lions have not forgotten how they've been jobbed twice against the Cowboys. First in the 90s in a playoff game when a late, outrageously bad PI call robbed them of a victory. And then last season when the officials took a tackle-eligible conversion off the board, again robbing the Lions of a victory.
Yeah,
now
that first one was not in the 90s. That was much more recent. That was Matthew Stafford.
Now the Lions are pissed off. They don't want just to beat you. They want to humiliate you, and they have the talent to do it. The Lions are playing angry.
Yeah.
Like it.
The question is it a good thing?
I think we'll see. Can you run on hate that long?
Well, no. Like, are those things worth the energy that it takes to think about? I think you could in 2020 hindsight, make a good case that the 2007 Patriots were close to out of gas.
Yeah.
At the end of the road, and might they had a little bit more left in the tank had they not been so sort of preoccupied with the FU tour from Spygate.
Yeah.
And running up the score as often as they did.
That's a good point.
I really like Detroit's uniforms right now, though. The new blue they've got.
That's where we go.
I like
he's
that.
So cute.
I like that
he
dark
really
blue.
Is.
We also haven't talked about Aaron Rodgers and just what's going on with him, because I gotta say that he's like not washed, but he's not Rodgers.
He's just close to washed.
Yeah, it's not. It's not.
I thought you were going to go into the hygiene area.
I mean, all of the areas.
It's probably not that either.
Yeah.
All of the areas.
Yeah.
But it looks to me like he's always broken the rules of quarterback mechanics, and he's always thrown off, with both feet off the ground and moving around and just flicking his wrist and getting the ball out. And I don't think he's got the physical ability to do it anymore.
Yeah, people are suspecting this Achilles did not heal the right way.
I think Paul said in the postgame show when I ground the film, I know he don't look like he want to get hit anymore.
Yeah,
for sure.
That to me,
sure.
He didn't. He's always, Evan's right, he's always sort of played by his own rules, but now it looks like he's afraid to get hit. And as soon as, I thought there were plenty of times in that game where he just left the pocket before he needed to. There was no pressure.
Yeah.
And then he would sort of slide right a little bit, and all of a sudden he had to throw it away because he moved into a guy. And I also don't think he saw the field very well. There was even a couple of completions we were watching, and we were like, oh, wow, uh-oh. And then sometimes he made the completion. Sometimes he was too late.
Could have just kept throwing a Garrett
I
Wilson
just
all
wonder
day.
if
Well, Adams was the first half of the game. One of the New York guys had a thing he put up, and it's he's going to look at this tape. Adams is going to see how many times that either he was open or he was schemed open in the first half, and Rodgers never threw it to him.
Yeah, there was a couple of times. One, they ran a pick play for him, and Gonzo got picked off. Another one was a little slant that Adams shook him pretty good at the line of scrimmage. But I thought Gonzalez was pretty good in this game against Adams on the whole.
PFF certainly thought so, right?
He made my good list.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
really?
mean,
Didn't PFF have huge numbers for Gonzalez?
Well, he was targeted 5 times and only gave up 1 catch, so that's always gonna be good in their grading. And the 1 catch was at the end of the game, was the last play of the game. It was the 16-yarder to Adams that ended the game. So it was a meaningless catch.
Right.
So he covered him 23 times and gave up 1 catch for 16 yards on a meaningless throw. So pretty good.
He looked so good to me. He's just so athletic, and I think maybe you want him to be more physical at times, but I think he's physical enough. But he can run. He can run with anybody.
Yeah.
My problem with the PFF stuff is it's totally results based. The 1 catch on 5, so it doesn't count the pass interference. Doesn't count the play that probably should have been called for pass interference.
The pass interference gets downgraded.
Yeah. I think that he was better in this game. I had him on my good list this week. I thought Marcus Jones struggled. Now I give him points for competing before anybody yells at me, but I thought he struggled, and I thought Gonzalez was better than he had been in the previous couple of weeks in this game. So I'm not telling you that I think PFF is wrong.
Yeah.
I think they're right. I think he was good.
What about the decision?
I don't like the whole percentage thing.
What about the decision to put Marcus Jones on Wilson rather than the other way around and have Gonzo on Wilson?
That's the follow-up question, Fred, because Jerod said they like that matchup. And so I put my Paul hat on with, well, did you try to get out of that? Why, Jerod? Why did they like it? You let them keep going to it. I mean, it was so obvious off the line.
They tried to double him a few times as the game wore on, and I thought, the biggest reason to me would be that Adams is the bigger, more physical receiver. So Gonzo has the size that Marcus Jones doesn't have.
But it's Wilson's 6'3", isn't he?
No, he's 6'1", but he's also not. That is not how he plays.
Yeah, he's not overly physical.
Yeah, so I think that was probably why they liked that matchup better. But I thought they had some really cool coverages on 3rd down in this game where they were matching in man and stuff like that, and kind of passing off crossers and things of that nature that ended up starting to work as the game wore on. They had a really good rep on Ellis's sack. That was a really good coverage rep where they doubled both guys and had them both bracketed on the play. And Gonzo was actually on Mike Williams on an island, so they put Gonzo on him. Said you got to take him by yourself.
We'll single the 3.
Yeah.
And double the 1 and the 2. Right?
Exactly. Yeah, and it worked perfectly. Yeah. So I thought I said AVP had some good calls earlier. I thought Covington had some moments in this game that were better too.
2-point conversion too.
Yeah.
Which I don't know
Yeah.
if you know, but the Jets felt like they had a better chance from the 70.
Well, that one too, I kind of watched
Good call.
where.
Do you know he said that, right?
Rodgers did.
Yeah.
He did not.
Really?
Oh my God.
Oh jeez.
It's just so much of what their offensive
He needs to
issues.
stop.
So much of their issues are him.
Yeah.
Like it's not even
Oh,
just about
yes.
physical. It's about all the other crap.
Yes.
I think 95% of their issues.
He's being a petulant child.
I underestimated how much of a DB he is.
Yeah.
And that's me, and I've been calling him
Like
that
get
since
them out of the huddle.
2010.
Get them
And
to
that's
the
what it
line of
was. He
scrimmage.
walked up to the center to
like know what the person
deliver a message.
Right.
He got
It's-
back in
It's,
like 1
it's
second.
so casual.
Yeah.
Everything, and this
I
is
said
one of
that
those,
years ago.
But this is one of those things like, just because you're ranting and raving like a lunatic doesn't mean you're always wrong. Like the Fred Toucher thing on one of my shows, he's a Jets fan, right? He insists the whole torn Achilles was Rodgers' fault. Like you're under attack. Like it's not. You don't have to be super cool. You can just get sacked or just throw the ball away. You don't have to look super cool doing everything that you do because you're Aaron Rodgers. He thinks that he put himself in harm, and he's probably not wrong.
Yeah.
Like it's this casual, like me worry kind of approach that he has to everything. That leads to 4 different times they had to either burn a timeout or got called for delay a game.
Yep.
Like that's on the quarterback.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, they were late to get the play calls," and I don't believe
he's
that.
been doing
You're
that
late
all
to the
year.
line
Everyone
of
else.
scrimmage.
Yeah.
And then you also so much of their play calling is clearly him. Like the Patriots' run defense could not stop Breece Hall. Like I know they were better and we're trying to the soft stuff and all that, but they really couldn't stop Breece Hall that much. But Rodgers has to cook. Like Rodgers has to have his moments in the game, and he's got to throw
Which
the
is
ball.
fine if
and
he's throwing for 350, but
Right.
the amount of guys that he was missing in that game.
Yeah.
They should have
That
ran the
was
ball
crazy.
40 times in that game, and they didn't
Yeah.
because of him.
Jake writes in, love the win. Hope Maye is all right. He looked fantastic until the injury. Curious if you guys think Boutte's comments the last few weeks about being mad about not getting the ball due to not dropping any that came to him was a not-so-subtle shot at Polk, who was an incompletion machine in getting a bunch of targets week after week. Also, I know we still need a tackle and line help. I love Tet McMillan.
Yep.
And if he's there when we draft, I'm shooting for him.
I'm definitely starting to come around on the receiver thing, mainly just because some of the tackles have kind of dropped off a little bit, but also just, look, if you have a really good quarterback like Drake Maye, we're already seeing that even this line is starting to level off a little bit in pass protection. Tet McMillan is a dog. That guy with a DAWG.
Well, what do you think about his hypothesis that Boutte's comments were aimed at Polk? Like, when they throw it to me, I don't drop it.
I think that's one, if we go back to me and Evan talking last week, that's when I think you're putting some pieces in place that haven't been said.
Yeah.
Now you're interpreting something.
Now you're stretching.
Yeah. And I'm not telling you you're wrong, but I'm saying I don't think it's a logical conclusion to say that's what he said. Just take him at face value.
Yeah. Well,
he feels like he needs to have the ball thrown his way more.
Yeah. And
Like
plus,
I don't think it has to be an indictment of Polk.
It's
a
more
fellow
like,
teammate.
how come you're throwing it to him so much?
Right. Now maybe that is what he meant, but I didn't take it that way.
No, me neither.
Want a little trivia?
Yeah.
Love trivia.
Brian in Swansea writes in, this is draft-themed trivia, so we've got to bring Alex in.
Draft-themed
Drake
trivia?
Maye
I'm not
joins
gonna be good
Richard
at that.
Seymour and Jerod Mayo as the only Patriot player drafted with a top 10 pick during the last 30 years. What team has had the most top 10 draft picks during this time period?
The Cleveland Browns.
No.
One of two teams. I guess.
Jaguars?
No. Jaguars. Are you looking?
No, I didn't look.
They have an astonishing 20, including 10 straight from 2008 to 2017. During the Super Bowl era, name the 3 players drafted number 1 overall who have had the same last name as a Massachusetts municipality.
That is very obscure.
Number 1 overall,
all right,
so that narrows it down quite a bit.
Cam Newton.
Yes.
Ooh,
That's a good one.
crap.
I'm not good at thinking outside the box like this.
Move on to the next one.
You don't want
I want to keep thinking, but
Okay.
move on to the next one. I don't want to bog the show down.
Okay.
Like Mike Francesa.
In the
1,
1989
2,
draft,
3.
89, the first pick, Troy
Before my
Aikman,
time.
third pick, Barry Sanders, and fourth pick, Derek Thomas, and fifth pick, Deion Sanders were all elected to the NFL Hall
Not a
of
bad
Fame.
draft.
Yeah. Who was the second pick in that year's draft?
Sam Bowie.
1989.
Yep.
1989.
So who was the pick after Troy Aikman?
Can you give me the team that drafted him?
Brian Bosworth.
Might give it away, but the Colts.
Oh.
Steve Empman.
No. But along the
Trev
same...
Alberts.
No.
Dawson. Dawson?
Dawson and
I think
Downey.
Sports Illustrated.
Oh, Mandarich? No.
Mandarich. Tony
Yeah.
Mandarich.
He was drafted by Green Bay, wasn't he?
Yeah, according to this, according to Brian at Swansea, he said the
I
Colts.
thought he was drafted by Green Bay. But that's 4 Hall of Famers in the first 5 picks.
Those
Not
prime
bad.
deuce football card collecting year.
Oh, nice.
I had all those guys.
Who was the last player drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers with a top 5 pick?
Oh, jeez.
Wow, that's-
Pittsburgh Steelers.
I'll give you a hint.
top
It's a long
five.
time ago.
Terry Bradshaw.
Correct.
Wow.
Correct. And finally, what college has had a quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and tight end drafted during the Super Bowl era who have been selected to the Hall of Fame? What college had all those players drafted and all gone to the Hall of Fame?
Alabama.
Nope.
Penn State.
Ohio State.
Notre
Dame.
Notre Dame. Joe Montana, Jerome Bettis, Tim Brown, and Dave Casper.
Did not know Dave Casper.
That's
went
a
to
good
Notre
one. You
Dame.
want to go back to
who
your...
I'm
the
thinking about it. Move on. I'm going to think about that
There's
for
no
a
more
minute.
questions,
He's
Paul.
going to put it on the
Okay,
back burner.
It's like
All right, give me...
One is North Shore, or close to North Shore.
Chris Peabody.
It's up north in Massachusetts. Trevor Lawrence.
Oh.
Lawrence,
Trevor
Mass.
Lawrence.
And the other one is, I'd say, on the...
How about, give me, a team or something that drafted him? Could be anybody.
He played for a team I hate.
Wow.
That could be many.
No help at all.
That could be many.
He's either on the
Bengals?
Bills, Jets, Dolphins,
Bengals.
Broncos. Steelers, Ravens, Chiefs,
Broncos.
Cardinals, Chargers, Raiders. There's a lot of teams to choose from.
Was having a great season and then got hurt close to the playoffs, I think. Or maybe it was in the week 1 of the playoffs.
Is there a Watson mass? No.
All right, why don't you just tell me?
Carson Palmer.
Palmer.
Palmer
I never
Mass.
would have gotten that.
No.
Okay. Good one, Brian. That's good.
That was a good
Those
game.
were too deep for
Yep.
me. That's outside the box
That was
thinking.
too much.
Yeah. Let's go to...
Newton, Palmer,
and Lawrence. Let's go to Christian in Virginia. What's up, Christian?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Hey.
Good.
I got 3 things. One, I think our chances of getting T. Higgins or DK Metcalf are getting slimmer and slimmer. Every game that they don't play, the Seahawks and the Bengals just can't pull it off. The Seahawks especially, this last game, it was a season low, and they didn't have a play longer than 20 yards. DK Metcalf averages 16 yards per reception.
I blame Bart for this.
They have
DK
no
Metcalf
depth at
isn't
wide
going
receiver.
anywhere.
So I don't.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to get him.
He's the only one that has this take. It's not your fault, Christian.
So wait a minute. I don't really
I heard
understand.
this take this morning that the Patriots could be buyers of a
Oh,
team.
we're
that-
talking about acquiring a wide receiver right now?
Well, they could be buyers of a player
right
that a
now.
team wants to unload. A good player.
Are you talking about in free agency, Christian, or a trade?
Yeah, I'm just referencing Alex.
Okay, and your point is that because the teams Cincinnati and Seattle haven't played well in the games that those guys haven't played, is going to up the level of urgency to re-sign them? Is that your point?
Yeah.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
I wasn't listening. That the Seahawks have.
I get what you're
Like,
saying.
But DK Metcalf isn't
Jake
even a free
Bobo
agent.
right
This
now.
is a Barth take. He's on his island about this.
Yeah.
That DK Metcalf is going to somehow be available for somebody to acquire via trade. And I keep telling him that is unlikely to happen, and he keeps giving the take.
And,
So
and I would say if you think T. Higgins is going to be a free agent, I would absolutely. Cincinnati is not going to change. Oh, we need to. Cincinnati's poorly run, so I think there's a good chance that he's going to become available.
Well, he had 3 things.
Oh, that was one. Yes.
My
Two?
other point was, I think I think it's kind of dumb when people get upset about running the score up. You know, it's NFL. It's professional football. It's not like Alabama playing some no-name school. And I think that's kind of an overblown thing, especially that I saw this week with, like, the Panthers-Broncos game. And then my last point, something kind of random. I don't know if you guys have seen John Gruden's TikTok, but it's very entertaining. So I invite you guys to check that out.
All right. And I would just say, like,
Thanks, Christian.
I think people misunderstand when people talk about running up the score. It's not necessarily because, like, it's not like, having to watch Tua Tagovailoa play football and it upsets you. It makes you, puts you in a bad place mentally.
Makes you queasy.
Right? It's just wasted energy. Like, I would say as a follower of the 2007 Patriots, I think they wasted time worrying about things that weren't important, like putting 50 on Joe Gibbs. Like, I just didn't think that was worth it.
I don't think they wasted time. I think it was easy to do, and they did it.
Yeah, I just don't think you get anything out of that. I don't really think there's any value in that.
Well, what are you going to do? Kick field goals, Paul?
Yes. That's exactly what you do.
That's running up the score. You give them a chance to stop you.
No, you take your guys out of the game, so maybe they have a little bit more left.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, didn't they do that too?
No.
No?
No, they famously didn't, because if you remember, Dale
didn't come out.
Arnold explained to us that you can't take them all out because you don't have enough backups. Golly gee willikers.
It's like he was in the studio
It's
with
kind of
us.
like the equivalent of, like, they don't do it as much this now, but, like, the Celtics used to leave the Jays in to get their stats at the end of blowouts, and so that Jason Tatum could average 30 points a game for the seasons. They would keep him in the game, and it was like, now that hopefully they've matured and they've realized.
And
that
I think
they're
they have
bigger
a little
fish.
bit.
Yeah,
I think they have a little bit. They don't stat hump anymore like they used to.
Yeah.
And I listen, Detroit, more power to you. You're a really good team. I just think that's wasted energy. I think that you can, you can rest guys a little bit. You can, ensure their health a little bit better. What do you, like, in the end of the day, what's the difference if you win a Super Bowl but you have a plus 10 point differential as opposed to a plus 20?
No, I
Like,
know.
who cares?
But
Isn't the goal to win the game?
No, but you read your lot. I mean, they were having fun. They were going in there and they were pumping.
I know.
Another one bites the dust after every
I
game.
know. But ironically, that was the most fun they had, and that was a close game, 24-20. There was no. There was no running up the score in
No,
that
I know,
one.
but they would have if they could. You know,
I know they
other
obviously
team
would
came
have if
to
they
play.
could have, because they did it every game that they could.
Right.
I just don't think you get anything out of that. I don't think there's any value in it. And for a guy like Bill Belichick, who is constantly talking about staying in the moment, worrying about what's important, I thought he took his eye off the prize.
I'm not going to be fraudulent.
No, I know you
At
weren't.
the time, I loved it, and I love it now.
But I just kind of, and you don't have to agree with that reason either, but it's not because I think it offends the other team. Now, there is part of it you're being, but there is part of it you're being a DB, and the call at Christian was right. Denver was trying to run up the score against Carolina the other day, and the Panthers didn't like it, and actually it backfired because they ended up turning the ball over, and Carolina ended up scoring a touchdown at the end of the game. And like there's energy now being wasted having to defend at the end of a game that should have been over. Obviously an extreme example from 2 weeks earlier in a game that had long since been decided, and Chris Godwin goes down for the season. It's a hard game to play at the highest level, and I think you're just asking for trouble like that, like losing a player. Now, Tampa was losing. They weren't winning. It wasn't a running up the score kind of a thing, but the game was over in the last minute, and they're playing. I'm not suggesting that they did it wrong, but I just think more things like that can happen bad than, we ended up winning 52-14 instead of 48.
This is one of my favorite Paul Perillo takes of all time. I love it. That's great. I've never thought about it that way, and that's why I'm not being facetious
because people
with it.
always go to like the soccer mom. That's what they used to make fun of. So this is, maybe this triggers me a little bit because this is back in my Big Show days when I used to be on EEI, my original station, Fred. And I would go in with Glenn Ordway and like Fred Smirlis, and Fred and Steve, you guys remember, you're old enough to remember Fred and Steve?
Of course.
Right? they, if you disagree with them, they would, we're going to throw you in a locker. That's what it was, right? And it was fun. I mean, they weren't being serious about it, but
they were.
And I would and I would just say what do you get out of it? Like what is the end game?
So let me ask you a question.
I always say what's the pluses and minuses, right? What's the pluses and minuses? To me, the minuses grossly outweigh the pluses.
So let me ask
you
you
could lose an important player while you're trying to get a meaningless score.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question. If you do sub and the subs continue to score, is that okay?
Yes.
Okay.
You can't.
It's all about keeping the players.
Like, I'm not suggesting with 9 minutes left in a 4-touchdown game, you should just go out and take a knee and punt.
Yeah.
No, the guys that are on the field need to play.
Right. Okay.
Like, but at the same time, you don't need to be throwing bombs.
Taking shots at the end zone.
Or having the running back throw touchdown passes.
As an example. Although I don't know how late that touchdown was.
I want to say it was the second half.
But I certainly wouldn't be kicking 51-yard field goals to make it 52
but
to 14.
was also part of that, just Bill being pissed off at the league.
Yes. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It was that's what Dan Campbell's doing right now. That's why I draw the comparison.
Well, yeah.
Dan Campbell is mad at what Mike said. Like, he thinks they were wronged last year. This all started with the Dallas game.
Yeah, but in a game, right? They were wronged in a game.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he thinks that it was the league that has it out for him. It's the same principle.
Why would the league have anything out for the Detroit Lions?
I don't know. You tell me why they consistently get screwed when it's the biggest spots. Because I can understand how they feel like that.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's more that the league loves the Cowboys.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So it wasn't over yet. It was 28-14 when Montgomery threw the touchdown.
Yeah, and I'm just using these as examples. Like, the Dallas game, they emptied the bucket with these trick plays. Like, they had like 3 or 4 different things.
That one I get.
I think they're doing it on purpose, and I'm not complaining that they're running up the score. I'm just saying, like, can't you better use your energy?
You're worried about the wrong things.
Can't you better use, especially that team?
Yeah.
Which I think they kind of.
Right, they're feeling themselves a little bit, and
they lose the details on the margins on a regular basis, let alone when your goal is to win by as many points as opposed to just win.
Who's the most overrated team right now in the NFL? Overrated.
It's a big question.
I think I've got one.
It's a big question. I would have had an answer
Pittsburgh.
That's mine.
Pittsburgh would have been my answer, but
I think they're going to be playoff fodder.
I kind of think I don't think that they're a contender. So I guess they fit your criteria.
Yeah.
I will say I've been a little surprised that Russell Wilson. Like, I thought Russell Wilson the first week was a fluke.
Threw the ball well.
He was throwing balls up for grabs, and George Pickens was making ridiculous catches on balls that, in a lot of cases, bounced off of Jets defenders first.
Yeah.
But last night it wasn't fluky.
Yeah.
Like, their offense was good last night.
I wouldn't say, overrated is probably not the right word, but I don't expect Washington to actually make serious noise. I think that they have a really good rookie quarterback that's had a great year, but I don't. When it really becomes money making time in the playoffs, I don't really expect them to.
You think of Baltimore?
It's a great one.
I mean, Lamar's still so
I know.
good.
I can't do it to Lamar, but
their defense.
Yeah, their
really,
defense
really
has not
bad.
been good, but he's been awesome.
Dan in Virginia and Michigan, wasn't there a reason why the Patriots ran up the score against Washington in 2007? I vaguely remember
Joe Gibbs.
something about Bill Belichick having an axe to grind specifically with Joe Gibbs.
Yep. That's the theory. I mean, that's not.
But what was it that
he comment on
he didn't like Joe
Spygate
Gibbs from his NFC East days?
Yeah, 80s Redskins.
Yeah. Now, that's not that doesn't mean that's fact, but that's the general consensus at the time was he doesn't like Joe Gibbs.
He did something.
Do you remember when we used to go to every game and we would figure out by the end of the game, every once in a while they would just take a knee and run the clock out and they go, he must like Fred Kirsch.
Right. Yeah.
Do you remember that year? That's how bad that year. They went undefeated. These are the things that we talked
Taking
about
a
in
knee.
the aftermath of
Must
these
like the
games.
guy.
Oh, he must not have an axe to grind with him.
John writes in, he says, I have an apology to sexual assault. Wanted to apologize to Mike for saying he was moving the goalpost in the Sunday postgame show. Finding out it was his computer not working that was causing the frustration. I can imagine the ride home now, no music playing, just a straight-faced Mike in the open road. Also, can you talk about the good game Gonzo had? I love hearing the mic'd up when his coach said, be ready, they're coming at you here. Yeah, that was a little NFL Films magic there.
Nice.
I appreciate that. That was very true. I was very flustered.
I have
and,
not seen you quite that flustered before.
I mean, imagine this. The game is unfolding. It's the final drive. Everybody knows what happened. And it's like, you're like, everybody's on edge. And I'm like, try to type a sentence, it's there. And then all of a sudden, it's gone. You know, and then so I reload the page. You know, and this is what you're going through. And you're looking up and like a play's going off. And, you know, so I just didn't enjoy the win at all. And I got home and I was just so like, God, I'm like in a bad mood right now. And they won the game. Like, what the hell? And then, so like I said, I watched it. I just put it on TV.
You didn't get to be proud with Fred.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I didn't know. I wasn't proud. I was just like, stupid computer.
I always tell you,
my
you
pride
can't
stood
write
alone.
in the back end.
I know.
I tell you this all the time.
I know.
You
Everyone
write in
tells
Google
me
Docs
that.
and then you copy and paste it into
Here it
the
comes.
back end.
Here it
I
comes.
tell him that all the time. He
All
never
the
listens to
time.
me.
We keep telling
You're
him all the
asking
time.
for that.
Oh, you're writing right into
He
the...
writes right in pocket.
Oh, that's dumb. That really is.
I live on the edge.
Don't do that.
I don't really understand.
I want to publish immediately.
But it doesn't really save any time.
It takes
I'm
2
gonna-
seconds.
I'm
You're done. You copy and paste. You put it in.
I did for 3 years, Fred.
I got to format it.
Stop doing this.
I can't believe that even the young tech guy is telling you not to do that.
Well,
it's not just the olds.
In my defense, I couldn't even get into Google Docs during this
Word?
catastrophe. So
Hey, you weren't even using your laptop.
I wasn't. I was using one of the.
Like, what are you
tablets.
doing?
I don't even know how you write in that.
He's using
I live on the
a
edge.
tablet.
I live on
at
the
the end of the game. Why
Yeah.
don't you just use your phone? Just type it into your phone.
That's what Evan would do.
Well, so that
I'm almost done with this right
Why
now.
don't you just dictate it?
That's also partially why I use Google Docs, is because then I can access it on all my devices.
Yeah.
Right.
So like when we are in game, I'll write on my laptop, and then when I go down to the locker room, it's still there on my phone. So then I can keep writing while I'm
All right,
moving.
I'll come up with something
go.
new for everybody.
I definitely need to do more with Google Docs because I don't really know.
If I couldn't
everything
write
that-
on my phone when we're on the road, I would never publish in time. Because, like, how would I be able to, you know? But
Now
like,
wait, do you write into Pocket on your, or you just write into Google Docs and then
yeah,
send it
as
to
soon
the-
as we
to
get
the
on the
squad
bus. Yeah.
to publish?
So well, that's the other thing that you could.
No,
do.
I do it
Send it
myself,
to the
but
squad.
Just send it to the squad.
Yeah.
yeah, I do it myself. But by the time we're on the bus, I've already written the entire game observations done on my phone, and then I copy it.
Great inside baseball talk.
Yeah.
Right?
See, I just the hard part with writing on your phone though is like I think of something and I gotta go back up and then I gotta like get the cursor in the
I
right
can't.
spot.
Oh,
Like,
I
that
could
kind of
never
stuff.
write on my phone.
I can't write on my
That
phone
stuff's
for
I
that
can't even
reason.
get a
This is a
text
gener-
without
this is a
multiple
generation.
edits.
Fat fingers.
No, I'm not saying I've never done it, but like if I have any kind of choice, that would be my last resort.
I still miss the BlackBerry push
I
numbers.
do some of my best
still
work
miss
on my
that.
phone.
Wow.
BlackBerry.
The BlackBerry.
You know, that was the original phone that we got from.
Oh, yeah.
From Freddie.
You know,
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
It was very brief.
I never got one.
Yeah, by the time we got them, they kind of were already on the way out.
Yeah.
And becoming obsolete.
Figures.
Something about.
Do you
feeling
want
the buttons, you know?
some NFL news to get us off this
Sure,
inside
yeah.
baseball?
What do we got?
The Colts have made a quarterback change.
Not surprised by that.
Anthony Richardson to the bench and Joe Flacco, the starter in
So when do we
People have been calling for
when
that.
do we play the Colts?
Not too long from now.
That's
right?
not good for the Patriots.
Throwback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That game becomes much more difficult with an actual
Flacco,
quarterback who can
your
complete
guy.
passes.
And
you see-
Stephon Diggs, your boy, torn ACL, out for the season.
Oh, I didn't know he got hurt.
Yes.
Did I miss that on
That's
Sunday?
been your
He
update.
did. No, he did. I knew he got hurt. They said it didn't look good.
I should have known. That's why you were sad.
Did you guys see though Anthony Richardson tapping out?
Well, that's what I'm saying. You
When
can't.
he was too tired.
Like good for Shane
His
Steichen,
helmet.
but that's what you have to do. Like you
never seen that
absolutely,
before.
positively have to do that move. You can't let a guy do that. Did you see how many guys that have been in the NFL that said, "I've literally never seen this before"?
Yeah.
Need a blow, coach.
I'm tired.
What's going on?
I need a blow.
The helmet. Like, what's he doing? You imagine the offensive coordinator
That's what
watching
he
that.
said.
happen.
He did. Did you
Oh,
see? He
yeah.
literally
You should just be
Yeah.
Donovan McNabb and throw up in the huddle.
Right.
But you stay in there.
That's the point, Fred. Even the guy who was throwing up in the huddle didn't tap out.
Right.
What's the
Anthony
Super Bowl,
Richardson
baby?
is like the guy that everybody thought Drake May was, which is like in college you could put like 5 amazing throws in a highlight package, but then the rest of it is just an absolute disaster.
He's had more like 10 for 32s
Right.
than you can.
And like 5 of them were all like 30.
Oh,
plus.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like he has these unbelievable big time throws down the field, but then he just can't hit like a slant.
I mean, that was the MO, that he was raw, great athlete. He needed a lot of work.
Yeah.
And he missed
The
most of
work
last
continues.
season. Who knew? Who knew of like playing more games might have helped him?
I see what he did there.
Good shot. Good shot.
Todd,
Shots
North
fired.
Carolina. What's up, Todd?
Hey guys, I just want to thank you guys for keeping it real for some of these other stations. I don't even like reading their stuff or listening to them because they have these weird, bizarre takes on everything. And come on, like we've got a rookie head coach, a rookie defensive coach, a rookie offensive coach, and I looked up. I think didn't Jacoby just play like 3 or 2 games last year? Wasn't he with Washington or something?
Yes.
So Brissett wasn't ready to go this year, really. He didn't have a full year last year, and they had to try to prep him up. And then they're working on Maye, and we got to makeshift everything. We got to rebuild. And it's just so
I want you to name names, Todd. Who are these other stations?
Who is
that
saying
you're
they
talking
didn't
about?
need to rebuild?
Is this Paul shows?
Yeah. Who?
Well,
Come on,
a little
name
bit of
names.
Shows a little bit of the musket thingy guys. And,
Oh, these are
people on
podcasts.
WEEI.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't heard anyone say that they're not in a rebuild. I have to be honest.
Right?
Yeah, the musket fires.
You guys are keeping it realistic. We should celebrate our wins, and I don't like why. Some of the other guys ask, "Oh, well, we shouldn't have won." It's just so annoying. Like, just
So your boys, Mike, I'm going to blame you. You and your ilk. The musket fired.
Thanks, Todd.
Bloggers. Oh.
Because I was looking for the people who actually said that.
The
So
bloggers aren't being positive. That doesn't sound right.
It does feel like this win, as much as we are excited about it. Like we talked about it after the sustainability factor after week 1, and it's the same thing. Like there's
Well, you're not going to play a team that's just melting down in front of your eyes every week.
I mean, I think the stat
1 out of every 5.
Right.
1 out of every 5 games.
Right.
I think the stat was teams that score 20-plus points, 0 turnovers, and give up fewer than 250 yards. We're 750-0
right
in NFL history until the Jets on Sunday.
I heard that.
750-1.
That's the most Jets thing ever.
That combination.
So just putting it into perspective, like that's how little sustainability there is. To
And
that
I would just say like the numbers are what the numbers are. 750-0 is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Right. I think it's a little misleading to say like with no turnovers when. No, they technically didn't turn the ball over. They missed a field goal, 2 extra points, 3 delay of games.
Right.
Used all their timeouts in the first quarter.
Right.
Snapped the ball to under center when the quarterback was in the shotgun.
Yeah.
I mean,
they turned the ball over.
Sounds
They turned the game
allowed
over.
a 62-yard punt return. I mean, there
turned-
was a lot of turnover-like plays in that
they
game.
They turned the game over.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
but technically, they did not turn the ball
Yeah.
over.
That's what do you think's going to happen? I mean, Woody Johnson, got rid of Saleh. Do you think that he's going to do something like this week, like fire somebody else?
I think you just got to play it out at this point.
They're out of moves. I think they're
I'm
out of
fascinated to see what they do though, because you can't be beholden to Rodgers if he's going to play like this.
No.
Like if he was going to play like an MVP, then you can be, but you can't be beholden to Rodgers if he's going to play like this. So you're not going to hire the next head coach for Aaron Rodgers. Like it's not like if Mike McCarthy gets fired in Dallas that they should be hiring Mike McCarthy.
We got 20 more minutes. There was a really good one that Florio threw out there today. You think if someone gets hurt this week, that someone would want to trade for Aaron Rodgers? Like if some team that loses their starting quarterback.
Yeah.
Like how it changes so fast, the narrative.
Christian's in L.A. What's up, Christian?
Hey, you guys. How are you today?
Hey,
Christian.
Good.
Great. So my most overrated team right now is the Minnesota Vikings. While I'm happy for Sam Darnold sort of finally coming out and resurging as a competent quarterback, I don't think it's sustainable. As far as our team goes, like the gentleman before me just said, hey, I'm just enjoying the ride this year. I'm seeing mainly for me if this system can be a workable system with better athletes. What do you guys think?
Yeah, that's sort of how I watch these games when I watch them back, especially is more okay. No offense to any of the players that are on the field, but if this is T. Higgins instead of wide receiver X, I don't want to name anybody specifically, but would this be better and would this work? And like the obvious answer is yes, but I still think
Christian.
offensively they're not a very innovative offense. Like I don't think that it's a offense that's not sound, but it's just not very creative or innovative.
I don't think they've really had a chance yet to do that type of stuff.
Yeah, maybe.
Right now,
it's just not in his typical. It's not in AVP's DNA to be like super exotic.
I can't make a judgment yet one way or the other. I just don't think they've had enough opportunity yet. You know, as Bill used to say, we're just trying to get the center quarterback exchange right.
The Jets are still doing it.
Yeah.
Like, I think
it didn't work.
There's a lot of stuff we're working through before we get to that point where we can be creative.
I would say that there's also, since the pass protection settled down, you see some of the route combinations actually start to take hold and work and create space and do things like that. And that's why I was talking about at the beginning of the show. Like, now that they have some time back there for the quarterbacks to let these plays develop, suddenly you are seeing some bigger plays down the field. You are seeing some of those route combinations work well. I just don't see them the way they present plays, formations, motion, things like that. Like, they don't do that the way that the tight pants guys do it.
Yeah, I had similar kind of thoughts watching the defense, thinking about, what's a real nose tackle? What's this defense look like with a real nose tackle in here? Somebody who's really controlling the middle of the line.
Poor Devon.
Not him. Because he was getting off. They're playing him off to the side some, but same thing with the edge. I like Jennings. I wish Jennings could rush the passer. I wish he had something, but he, it's just he's a big physical guy. He's going to try to throw a little shimmy and get around, but he doesn't have, moves. I like him. I like him being part of the team, but they need somebody who's an every down edge rusher that, when you get Barmore back and you got White, you're really cooking then, I think.
Yep. Let's see. Dave in Maine writes in, I'll start by saying that I hope Drake is okay and makes a speedy recovery. Mayo mentioned on Monday that it was the league that called down to have Maye brought to the locker room for a concussion assessment. Do you find it a little suspect that just a few short weeks ago, Josh Allen was knocked unconscious and was sniffing smelling salts on the sideline, but only missed one play? Rewind to last year in the AFC Championship, Mahomes took a blow to the head that broke a chunk out of his helmet. No locker room for him. It seems to me that player safety comes first as long as they don't have to pull a star. I know this sounds insensitive, but I only bring this up because after Maye's hit, he threw a beautiful pass while on the run. Then Mayo said that Maye really wanted to go back. Now he'll probably have to miss at least one more game. All I'm saying is that the league needs to be consistent. Does anyone even know what the concussion protocol is specifically? I Googled it, and all I could find is that it's a 5-step process.
Yeah, I could tell. I'm not going to sit here and bog down the whole show telling you the 5-step process, but some of the beat reporters I saw, I think Mark Daniels put out like the entire 5-step process word for word if you are really that interested in it. The throw that he made after the concussion was the one to Boutte that Boutte dropped on third down. That was the good throw that he made that happened after he supposedly got concussed.
Didn't he get sacked after that to end the next drive? That drive coming out in the second quarter?
He did get sacked once. I don't remember when exactly it was.
Yeah, I don't think he completed any pass. I don't think he threw any. The Thornton pass definitely happened before that.
Yeah. What about, though, we remember Josh Allen getting hit.
And he didn't have a concussion.
Well, how do they know?
Because they evaluated him on the sideline.
Okay. You mean, like, if he's unconscious, that's okay?
Okay. So when was he unconscious?
I don't know. That's what he said.
No, he didn't.
That's what the emailer said.
That's what the emailer said.
He didn't say he was unconscious.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
the emailer said he was unconscious.
No, Josh Allen was.
Josh Allen. I mean.
No, the emailer said that Josh Allen was unconscious. I watched the game. He wasn't unconscious.
I didn't say that he.
They made him go off the field.
I'm just telling you what
he wanted to stay on the field.
Okay, the emailer said he was unconscious, and then he was sniffing smelling salts on the sideline.
Okay, so that's a lie.
Okay.
The smelling salts.
Like, that's a lie.
David Maine, you're a liar.
No, well, he wasn't. I was watching the game. That was a red zone. Paul
there was like a weekend
moment.
at Bernie's possession where they were just kind of holding Josh Allen up.
He also just Drake Maye did not look right after he took that hit, and it kind of took him a second to get up. And
I think that the NFL made a mistake not pulling him off the field.
Yeah,
like this whole thing that the NFL made him. But they were about 15 minutes late.
Yeah.
Zoe live on the broadcast said he's slow getting up here.
Okay.
He saw it.
Yeah.
Like these guys when they leave the game and they have to go to get evaluated, not everybody has a concussion.
Right.
Now, you can make an argument that he really did have a concussion and they said that he didn't. I don't know. I didn't do the medical evaluation. I can't speak intelligently on that.
And I would think with all the, money and scrutiny the league has been over the years and the lawsuit with the concussions, the last thing that they want is to be found out that they're giving preferential treatment to stars when it comes to this.
Well, how about a guy was unconscious on the field and they didn't make him go to the locker room?
Right.
Does that make any sense to anybody?
That's what he said.
I know,
David
but I'm
Maye.
asking you if you think that makes sense.
No, it doesn't.
I don't think that
David's defense, Pat McAfee's the one that's been saying he was knocked out. I'm looking at it right now.
He wasn't knocked out.
And
Pat McAfee, you're a liar.
This is just my
unless
opinion,
something
but I do
happened
think
and
that
I
this-
missed.
I do think that, in just my opinion, I think this does happen in the playoffs.
There's no question. It happened to Julian Edelman.
Yeah, right. I was going to bring up Edelman,
true.
who I believe after the fact has admitted that he was definitely concussed.
Oh, yeah.
He said he didn't remember what down it was.
Yeah, but
So it does happen.
when
Of
the
course
stakes
it
are high,
happens.
it happens. In a not meaningless, but a regular season game in the middle of October, I don't think that that's happening.
But there's a difference between getting your bell rung and and possibly having a concussion and being knocked out.
Yeah. Oh,
Do you believe that Patrick Mahomes was knocked out in the playoffs last year?
Well, he was talking about the other guy, Josh Allen.
Do you believe that Josh Allen was knocked out?
Well, I saw that. He wasn't.
Okay, so why are you busting my chops about it?
Because you were telling me that he didn't say that. He
no,
did say that.
I said he wasn't knocked
No,
out.
but you said he didn't say that. I said, no, he did say it. That's what you were saying.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fred's right.
My bad.
It's like
He wasn't.
Patrick, I just every time this all gets back to the Tua thing for me. It really does.
It grinds his gears.
Every time someone gets hit, it's the end of a guy's life, and it's just
right.
There's a lot of risk that's involved in the sport. Guys are going to get concussions.
Yep.
I didn't see anybody. The Miami game here, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, Achane got lit up by Jalen Hawkins right in front of the Dolphins bench. He went down with the fencing position, and no one said a word about it. I've heard so many people claim that they've never seen the fencing position other than from Tua. I've seen that at least once a year.
Yeah.
Every year I've watched the game.
Yeah, Ridley, remember
I
that?
also heard
After
a lot
fumble?
Yes.
Yeah.
Bad one.
Yeah.
After it happened to Maye, I had a lot of people in my mentions saying that he's got to wear the Guardian cap, and you're gonna have to, what's his long-term health implications of this. And I'm not trying to make light of concussions or anything like that.
No, but I think other people try to tell you, like Paul said, it's the end of their career.
Yeah.
Every single hit is a referendum on the future of the person, the league.
Right.
In this case, it's cheating. They're rooting for they're allowing stuff for stars like Mahomes and Allen that they won't for a rookie. Not everything.
He's a star in my book.
Is it an uncovered conspiracy?
Let's talk about good things. Ben Brown. Patrick in Connecticut writes in, been listening for about 3 years now. Want to say I love the show. Wanted to bring up Ben Brown. I feel like I haven't heard anything about his play since taking over the center spot. I'm not a deep in the woods guy when it comes to stats, but I like what I've seen. Was wondering if he's someone who has surprised you, and do you feel like he has a longer future than just this year?
I would say he's certainly surprised me because he's a guy off the scrap heap that's starting games for the Patriots and doesn't look totally out of place. I would just say that Quinnen Williams ate his lunch money a little bit in this game, but Quinnen Williams is an all-pro player. And
he ate David Andrews' lunch money. Injured David Andrews.
Literally every time they play the Jets, Quinnen Williams is in the backfield 100 times. So it's I'm not trying to hold that against Ben Brown. But I would say the one thing that stands out to me is that he's a bigger center.
Yeah. He's tall.
And that has helped him out maybe at times in the run game a little bit. That he has a little bit more size to him than some of the typical centers that you see. But I still think he's a backup. I haven't seen enough to say that he's a starting center.
I just say, too, we saw so many botched snaps this summer. That hasn't been a problem.
Yeah, and he's making all the line calls, too, which is remarkable. He started the game against Houston. He had been there for a cup of coffee, and he's already making line calls with a rookie quarterback, and that's really impressive.
I'm asking because I don't know. In order to make line calls, do you have to know the playbook, or is it something else?
The protections, yeah. So
that's not easy.
No, and look, they've simplified some of their protections, which I think has actually worked out in their favor. So they're doing a lot of half slide and then locked on the backside into man to man. So that I actually think that's helped the pass protection settle down a little bit. It's a less 5-man slides, moving pockets, things like that. But it's hard. Like, he has to point out the mics, and it's not, none of that is on the quarterback in this offense like it has been in the past. So it's different.
Okay. Paul, on the shirt that you're wearing now, that's not a quarter zip? Is that a half zip? Is that what it's considered?
Pretty low.
A half
low
zip?
zip.
It's a quarter zip.
Oh,
No, it's not a quarter.
It's like a
quarter
third
zip.
zip
No,
at least.
how can that be a quarter zip?
Fred
It's only
hates
a quarter
quarter
zip
zips.
if you're 8 feet tall.
Fred hates me.
If you're 8 feet
figured
tall,
this
that's
out.
do you agree with
I
me?
agree. No, I think it's at least a third zip. Maybe,
Yeah,
I would
maybe
say
even a half
that's
zip.
not
I
a
would
quarter
say
zip.
that it's a 3/4 zip.
Okay.
This is Fred's.
It's a half zip.
Fred's a full zip.
It's a
right
half
now.
zip.
I think there's much more shirt at the bottom of the.
Yeah, but you can't count the last. That's a half. If
I'm
it
just
goes
going-
below your nipples, that's a half zip.
Below the nipples.
Yeah.
Well, by that,
If it's below the nipples,
So
it's
if
a
it's
half
up, so
zip.
if it's up
I'm
here,
good.
it's a quarter zip.
No, a little lower than that. It's a quarter zip. That's a quarter zip.
We've had some good ones today.
That's a quarter zip.
It's the full zip guy calling everybody out over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's young and hip now with the,
Little
the
vest.
unzipped, the unzipped, sweater,
This
vest
sweater, this
combo.
Is
But
like
make up
Fred
your mind.
McMurray.
Do you want
This is Fred
do you
McMurray.
want to
It's
wear?
my three
Do you want to wear a
sons.
sweater or a vest? Make up your mind.
It's a sweater.
It can't decide what it wants to be.
Really? Why?
I
It's
don't
got
know.
sleeves.
It's
Sweater
funny.
jacket.
It's funny looking.
It's like a sweater.
It
and
is
jacket.
weird. It's Swedish.
It's definitely
Yeah.
It's definitely the young and hip look.
You
Yeah.
think
It's
so?
a Euro
Is it?
look. Yes.
Is it young and
It's
hip?
hitting the right
It is.
demo.
Okay.
It is.
I'll take that.
We're on video now.
He's
sex
Swiss.
appeal.
He's going to be pissed at me.
No, I like
called
it because
him
it's
Swedish.
warm. I get cold a lot these days.
Oh.
My extremities.
Are you a little? So I we have time. It's 56 degrees in the house this morning. Had to pull.
Oh,
had
yeah.
to pull,
You
had
had
to
to
pull
yell
the
at them
trigger.
for
to get to
putting the
November 1st,
thermostat
right?
on?
No, I had to pull the trigger and put
Oh,
the heat on.
You broke the seal?
Jeez.
I did.
Yeah.
It's going right back off because it's supposed to be like 70 tomorrow.
I know.
Well, just put it down to like 62. The
Well,
thermostat.
It hasn't been on.
No, I know.
I just put it
whole
on
heater.
because, it was a little 56. That's a little low.
Yeah,
Get the
that's
smell, like that smell. First time
Yeah,
you fire it up.
yeah.
it's
Beth
like-
left for work this morning. She goes, "Hey, it was 56 in the house. Maybe you want to put the." I go, "Why don't you put it on now?" She goes, "Yeah, just shut it off when you go to work." But I didn't. I said, "Let's let's warm the
You
house
try to
up
get
a
to
little
November.
bit."
Is that what usually the
November
goal
1st is always
November
my
1st.
target date,
Yeah.
and especially now, I have no money.
I had to put it on.
You got kids in college.
Jordan in
Well, and
Kansas.
we didn't get any. The last time everybody else did.
Jordan in Kansas. Do you think the Patriots gave Tyquan Thornton a significant amount of reps to display him for a trade? He obviously didn't show anything that we already didn't know, but just a thought.
Poor Tyquan Thornton.
I don't know.
Made
I
a
don't
big,
know, man.
made a good play. I mean, I know he dropped one, but the guy was like on the bench for like a month. Comes out, he made a big play
I
on a
got
big
so
spot.
excited when he got that play on the crosser, and it's like, okay, use your speed, go.
He did.
Run.
Like, he
No,
made-
I'm
he made,
saying
like, two guys miss.
I
I
got
also wanted
excited.
to look it up. But he only played 12 snaps.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't necessarily say it was like a big role.
I just keep going back to your thing with him. It doesn't look right. It doesn't look right. Like he doesn't have the right body type, and the movement skills don't. There's no suddenness.
Do you think if
like
we
straight line
watch
speed, sure.
stuff and that's our take, do you think that people around the league are like, oh yeah, give him a 3? Like, you're getting a conditional, 7th round pick, 6th round pick. If he stays on a
would be
team,
nice than Hunter Henry, who, again, very good in this game. Like, can one receiver make a play on the ball for the quarterback here? Like, and it's not
that catch has to be made.
either quarterback. Like, it's not just
the Thornton
Drake.
drop. That was a.
It just reminds me about, being an athlete. We're playing bubble football here. Remember we used to play bubble football?
Yeah.
Andy was quarterbacking, and I ran across her, and he threw the ball to me, and I caught it, but I was having trouble putting it away, so I'm running it, and the ball's like up here, and Andy just goes, "Be an athlete." That's what I thought of.
Andy's such a jerk.
Be an athlete.
Did you throw that back at him during the tennis game, or you just
when I beat him in 3 sports?
Fred was running with the ball like this, just like the point up and down.
Right, exactly. That's how it was. I couldn't put it away.
I remember.
All right, that's going to be it for this edition of Patriots Unfiltered. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll turn the page to the Tennessee Titans.
He goes, "Be an athlete."
Be an athlete. I'll never forget. And then he gets into a fight with somebody. All right, we'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you for downloading this podcast. Subscribe on Apple, Google Play, and everywhere else you listen. Like the show? Please rate and review us. Listener comments and ratings help keep us high in the podcast rankings so new listeners can find us. Be sure to check patriots.com for more news and more podcasts.
The world's original podcast.